that's, I think, probably league wide too. Just like, what is the easy or not easy is it to possibly trade down?
Mm-hmm.
Because if a bunch of teams are looking to trade down, then it might be more of a, it might not be so much of a buy or a seller's market.
Right, right. So, and then you got Green Bay at 23, who's right before them too. And we know Brian Gutekunst has already mentioned many times that he'd like to have more picks, but he says that every single year. But would he actually trade, first round pick when the draft's in Green Bay and such? And I know he's already mentioned, Mark Murphy said you do whatever you got to do. I don't think that is a factor as much as people want to make it a factor. I don't think it is a factor that, Green Bay, if they get a deal that they feel like is better for them, they will trade the first round pick,
Right.
and try to accumulate some more picks that way. So I ultimately feel like they will make a selection tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they move back a little bit and accumulate some more picks that way. But ultimately, I do feel like Green Bay is going to make a pick. I just love the narratives that's going around right now that, or the reports. Could they actually get a wide receiver? Are they going to draft a wide receiver with the draft being in Green Bay? That might get the loudest ovation, like just kind of like a finally. I keep saying this, but I guarantee you probably about half the people watching probably won't know anything about that wide receiver. They'll just hear wide receiver and
Right.
and get excited about it. So that's kind of where I don't. Well, I'll tell you who I got going in my mock if I got a
There we
receiver
go.
coming up in the first round. I'll
That's a
give you one.
teaser.
I'll give you a clue. The guy that I have mocked for Green Bay in the first round is in attendance tonight.
Ooh.
Is in attendance. So now does that mean it's a wideout?
Ooh.
I loved
So it's
yesterday.
not Shadur Sanders.
It's not Shador Sanders, but hey, Travis Hunter's here, and he said he kind of insinuated he would have to do a lot to trade up to get him,
Yeah,
but
moving up to 2 or 3 would be
he,
significant, but
yeah.
I feel like that would provide quite the roar, wouldn't it?
Oh my God, can you imagine? I mean, okay, so 10 years ago, Brandon and I were in Chicago. Actually, the weather was kind of like this too. It was a little chilly.
Yeah, it was a little overcast, but
But
still
there
all
was
right.
that rumor that would Chicago move up to number 2 to grab Marcus Mariota, and that's a little bit different, moving up from 7-2 compared to
23 to
23-2. So
yeah,
that would,
you're reaching pretty deep into your bag of tricks to go up that far.
and you better hope that if you get that draft capital, that guy is going to be a huge,
Game
huge,
changer.
yeah, game changer. So let's tell you what, Brandon. I've been anxious to do this. Let's do our mock.
All right,
You want to do this?
our
Our team
combined.
mock.
Yeah.
So if you're good with it, we're gonna do pro football.
Well, we'll tell you. Yeah. Well, here. You want me to?
You do it. You run
I'll
it.
take the lead. You've
You run it.
got yeah. You've got
You
a.
actually do something this morning.
I know
Okay. So
you're. Yeah, we are. Yeah, Pro Football Network. I mean, there's, like I said, there's a bunch of them, but
so again, we are doing 7 rounds. We're letting the computer pick for the other 30 teams. Brandon will be selecting for Minnesota. I'll be selecting for Green Bay. There are trades in this.
right.
Computer will offer a trade
And
and
we
such. So
can too, but I'll just tell you right now, I'm not going to spend the
yeah,
time offering them out myself. I mean,
yeah,
we're gonna try to speed run this a little bit.
right.
I mean, so yeah, but yeah, I mean, we're ready to go.
All right, let's do it up.
All
What do we
right,
got?
and we've got the speed at fast, so we'll be cutting
Yeah,
through.
there's not going to be any like 10 minutes waiting
No.
on the clock to see what happens
All
here. So
right.
I'm going to be up first, right? So,
Yes. So Dan,
Chicago
Dan
wants,
has 3 trade offers at pick 23.
so Chicago wants to give me the 39th and 45th. Intriguing, but I'm going to reject that.
Okay. You got an offer
Seattle's
from
got 50, 52, and then next year, third. No. Jacksonville, 36. No. I
Okay,
want picks
so
for this year, so I'm
yep,
rejecting
so
them all.
nothing. So, and as we look at the board right now, the top 5 available, according to them, are tight end Colston Loveland from
He's going to be
Michigan.
gone by then, but,
Yeah, Nick Amari, a safety from South Carolina. Josh Simmons, a tackle from Ohio State. Jihad Campbell, a linebacker from Alabama. And Walter Nolan, a D tackle from Ole Miss. Go the highest, for those of you interested, the highest receiver is Luka from Ohio 5.
Scroll down a little bit. I'm just kind of curious where.
Yeah, no,
where...
and then there's I mean, there might
okay.
be.
Go up.
Yep.
I guess based off of the board right now, I'm looking at this. Okay, I could go Josh Simmons and get a tackle over there. But you know what I'm going to do? I'll go for Knowles.
All right.
I wasn't expecting him to be there, but got to go with that pick. So
that's a solid pick.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a pretty deep defensive tackle class, and he's explosive. So all right, so I am up. Literally the next pick after. I have 3 trade offers. One from the Jets, which would be my 24 and a 187 for 42.73 in a second. I'm going to say no. I got that same offer for Jacksonville that you got, which was a pick 36 in the second round.
Yep.
I'm going to say no.
Because you want picks this year.
I do. And interesting.
Ooh, one's not bad.
I got an offer from the Bears, which is my pick 24 and 97 for their 39 and 41. And for the sake of fun, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
For the sake of
fun.
fun.
So you're going to trade out of the first round.
I am.
Okay.
So, and I'm back on the clock. I've got a couple trade offers. Not very enticing. And I got an offer from the Cowboys to move down from 39 to 44 and pick up which would probably be like a 6th rounder, it looks like.
174? Yeah, maybe early 6.
I'm looking who's on the board here.
Maybe a late 5th.
Tell you what. I actually
You're thinking about that.
I'm going to take that Cowboys pick.
Okay.
Or that
trade.
Offer.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so I'm back on the clock at 41.
Jeez.
I know.
Let everybody else play.
I'm having all the fun, but these 2 trade offers, I got an offer from the Chargers to basically move back a little bit, but pick up a second next year. I'm not interested. And then to move into the 3rd round with the Patriots, not interested. So, all right, so I'm up on the clock. And
finally, making a pick.
The top 5 available: Luther Burden, the receiver from Missouri; Kenneth Grant, who I do think will be long gone by this point. But hey, we never know.
Yep.
We never know. D tackle from Michigan; Travion Henderson, the running back from Ohio State; Jalen Milroe, quarterback from Alabama.
You might need a backup right now.
And Donovan Jackson, guard from Ohio State. So, gosh, I think it was last week. I talked about how I would be willing to. I would actually be fine if the Vikings took a receiver.
Oh, you're going to do that, guy?
But I'm not going to.
Okay.
I said, even though I don't think he's going to be here, but we're going to play this mock true to form, I'm going to take Kenneth Grant.
Okay.
Defensive tackle.
That's who I thought you were going to go with. So,
all right,
and then you're back up again. Jeez, can you let others play?
I am, but I'm going to have some time off after this. I've got 2 offers here, and I don't particularly like either of them. So,
all
right. So I'm up again. But now, I'm going to do it.
You're going to go Luther?
I'm going to go Luther Burden.
So I was really hoping he was going to be available when he was up there because he's that guy that I really like. But I feel like 23 is maybe a little too high. But then he won't be there when Green Bay drafts again. So, but that's kind of what I feel like.
Yeah. So you're up now at pick 54. You have an offer from the Lions.
Reject it.
Okay. Yeah. And
reject it. That doesn't make a difference for me.
So you are up right now at pick 54, I believe.
Yeah.
And the top 5 on the board for you: Mason Taylor, tight end from LSU; Wyatt Millam, guard from West Virginia; Caleb Johnson, running back from Iowa; TJ Sanders, D tackle from South Carolina; and JT.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you had fun, but Tuamalau.
Yep.
The edge rusher from Ohio State. Go down a little bit further: Darius Alexander, D tackle from Toledo; Benjamin Morrison, cornerback from Notre Dame; Jalen Rose, receiver, Utah State.
You know what? Let me grab this for a second.
Yep. You look. I'm doing my best to explain as we go here because I understand this may not always be the most exciting radio.
So I'm doing this. I scroll down a little bit. I'm going Jaden Higgins, wide receiver, Iowa State. Even though Jordan Love's looking at that board and saying there's a Utah State dude, wide receiver there. Get me that guy. No,
you're up again, and you have 1 pick.
Yeah, but no, thank you, Cowboys.
That's not the greatest offer in the world.
He is still there.
All right, well,
I gotta do it.
You gotta pronounce the name though.
JT Tuamala from Ohio State. I mean, he's there, edge rusher.
Yeah, yep.
I got to do that if he's there.
Yep.
Oh, I'm really liking my draft right now.
Yep. All right.
I got a D tackle.
We'll be up next at pick 124.
All right, so got a couple D tackles. Will Howard is also there. CJ West. But I already got my D tackle. Ooh, former Badger, 1 hot minute. Logan Brown is there.
True, yeah. High profile recruit.
I do need a tackle. there's a defensive tackle there that I liked in the 4th round, but since I already got
Oh,
that,
double up.
I don't know if I can.
Don't draft Skurd.
I'm not 100% convinced, but he is the highest one ranked on here. I'm going to go Logan Brown, offensive tackle from Kansas.
All right.
Just to get, I need a swing tackle for some depth.
Yep.
For both
All right.
left
Now
and right.
I am up at pick 139. And some players I'm interested here on the board. Once we get a little bit deeper in the draft, we probably won't go super deep onto who's available just because.
Yeah.
But looking at Joshua Farmer, D tackle, Florida State, Will Howard, quarterback, Ohio State, CJ West, D tackle, Indiana. All right. I've got 3 picks left. Just checking this out. And you've got 4 picks left. So.
Is there some go pack go chance going?
I think that's.
Yeah. I don't know where they're coming from, but I hear somebody's already up and at it doing go pack go chance.
All right. For my 4th round pick, I am going to take Jalen Reed, safety from Penn State.
I thought you said Jaden Reed at first. So
sounds like that.
Yeah.
You will be up now at pick 159.
Okay. Nobody's offering trades at this point.
Well, we rejected a bunch of them, so they probably got fed up with us.
So got a couple running backs on here. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm a little light on one position of need. Where am I at? Where's my next one? Yeah. I am gonna go. Nope, I don't want. I am gonna go Zach Frazier, corner from UTSA.
Roadrunner.
Yep. I need a corner. It's a little too late in the draft for me for that I'm comfortable with. Finally getting a corner, but I had to go with value on those other picks. So.
All right. I am up at pick 174, and he's been there a while, but I'm going to take him now. I'm going to take running back Damian Martinez from Miami, the speedster. So, and I am up for, I believe this should be my last pick unless I get a trade offer, which I did because the computer's jerks. So yeah, I believe this should be my last pick. It is.
All right.
So
make it count, Mr. Irrelevant.
I guess. So looking at the board right now, I'm going to allow myself. All right. I will go onto the offensive line, and I will go a little bit of a developmental project. Small school guy, Clay Webb, guard of Jacksonville State. 6'3", 213 or 312.
Okay, Kuiper.
Good RAS score. So maybe a guy.
No GMs use RAS though, apparently.
Well, it's also good to have 5 number 3 receivers too. That's.
All right. So am I up?
Yeah, you're up. I
okay.
Think you got 3 picks left. You're taking it the rest of the way from me.
I got 3 left here. So I've already gotten. Let's take a look. Walter Nolan, defensive tackle. I've gotten Jaden Higgins, wide receiver. JT, edge rusher from Ohio State. Logan Brown, offensive tackle. I've gotten a corner. So I've covered my big needs so far. But I want a linebacker to have a little bit more depth. So I'm going to go Jamin Johnson from Kentucky. Well, we'll go Kentucky there. So now I've got my 2 7th-round picks coming up here.
This is where legends are made right here, though.
You know what? Boy. I'm going to go Drew Kendall. I need a center, backup center, just in case Jacob Monk.
You're really addressing the line here.
I am. But
now your very last
last pick, and I got to do it because he might be the future. I need a backup quarterback. I'm going to go Brady Cook, Missouri.
Is that a guy you like?
No.
Or you just want to pick quarterback?
Just want to pick quarterback.
All right, so we are done. If you want to give a quick read.
Yeah, I'll go through mine here. So I didn't do any trades. There was no trades that I liked.
Didn't really have much in the way that was.
No, but I do think Green Bay will do some trades this weekend.
Yeah.
Walter Nolan, defense tackle, Ole Miss. We got Jaden Higgins, wide receiver, Iowa State. JT Tuilamalamalu, edge rusher from Ohio State. Logan Brown, offensive tackle from Kansas, the one-time former Badger. Zai Frazier, corner from UTSA. Jamin Johnson, linebacker, Kentucky. Drew Kendall, center from Boston College. Brady Cook, quarterback, Missouri.
Alrighty, and I went from 4 picks to 5 picks after a little trading down.
You only ended up with 5?
Yeah. There were some swaps and stuff in there, but yeah, pick 41, I went Kenneth Grant, D tackle,
Mhm.
Michigan. 44, Luther Burden, receiver, Missouri. Pick 139, Jalen Reed, safety
Mhm.
from Penn State. Pick 174, Damian Martinez, running back from Miami. And pick 187, Clay Webb, guard, Jacksonville State.
All right. So, all right, let's take a quick break here, and we'll wrap up the first hour already, believe it or not. So then we'll get into some more mocks coming up here. All right, quick break. We'll be back in just a little bit.
You guys want to flip that around where the live stream's showing the stadium?
I don't know much about gemstones. I was thinking maybe aquamarine or maybe I want a small charm that I can add to my necklace. Just a little one in the shape of a butterfly or maybe a flower.
An idea. Or scribble on a napkin.
I was thinking a wide band with maybe
You know why you want this custom design. Thursday and Friday, May 8th and 9th in Eau Claire, Lasters and our visiting designers in residence will show you how to see your dream real.
always dreamed of a ring to Marshall Farm.
Our favorite New York artists will visit with you.
Passed away last year, and we used to always talk about getting that
Here's your idea.
tough relationship. And I'm trying to do things that would make me feel like I have.
Design something that gives you a hearty Lasters yes. You'll receive a hand-drawn artist rendering as well as a $200 credit toward your.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
These limited appointments will fill up quickly. Schedule your free, no-obligation consultation now at Lasters.com.
I love this so much.
Simple math question for you. When you add spring and baseball together, what do you get? That's easy. It's brats. Fire up those grills for some tailgate parties or backyard barbecues this spring with some brats from Mike's Star Market. Whether it's the Bloody Mary or beer brat, Mike's Star Market has so many different options of brats for you to choose from that you will be the talk of your tailgate party or neighborhood cookout. Celebrate the beginning of spring and baseball season by making a stop at Mike's Star Market, located on the west side of Eau Claire.
I think it's time we have this talk. 30 minutes, that's all it takes. Well, at least update your website. With Web6, you can buy blocks of time and use them when and how you need. Let's say you own a restaurant. With just one block of time, Web6 can update a menu item or add a phone number. I'm glad we finally had this talk. Find out more at web6.com. That's web6 with an X.com. When you're in the business of building the future, why rely on yesterday's internet technology? 100% fiber internet from TDS is engineered to handle industrial strength demand with turbocharged symmetrical speeds and 99.9% network reliability. Get internet that keeps your business light years ahead. Upgrade to cable-crushing TDS fiber internet. Strong enough for your business, strong enough for you. Learn more at tdsbusiness.com. Internet speeds are up to and not guaranteed. Subject to availability. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out this closet? RV ready. Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping? RV ready. Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach? RV ready. You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, we clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states and situations. Bucks Talk from the 715. It's the 715 Bucks Tailgate Talk Podcast. Available on.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure all those picks, all the important people.
Back coming to you live from Green Bay for the first round of the NFL draft. I know you're probably hearing a lot of background noise and all that stuff going on as they're still setting up for the first round tonight of the NFL draft. So if you hear that, if you hear a little bit of a delay and such, it's not, it doesn't sound perfect out there just because there's a lot of feedback and a lot of people are down here right now getting set for the draft and such. So, but it's apologies on our end, but we're kind of at the mercy of technology and and just everybody that's kind of trying to do a lot of stuff right now.
Right.
So
We'll probably sound a little scratchy, but we thank you for hanging with us.
right, exactly. So don't need to send me messages. Believe me,
We know.
I know. So, but all right. So coming up, should we do another mock coming up next hour? My mock.
Yeah, that's the
Do-
main
do my mock?
event, right?
Yeah. Yep. So
Your 7-rounder for the Packers, or
7th round for the Packers, and then my first round pick for the Packers. So first round pick for the Packers. So, but we'll see how that kind of goes out here and such. But anything else too when it comes to this? What are you looking forward to tonight? Besides, obviously, your team picking.
I think that I'm just kind of curious to see we've heard in the lead up, and I mentioned it before, D tackles, running backs. This is looked at as an exceptional class. Is that true? Because you can always hear things, but until it kind of starts going, you're never sure. After Ashton Genty is who's the next running back? Is it O'Marion Hampton? Where does that come?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's kind of been differing opinions on how early that might be.
Right.
So and D tackles a guy, we just when we did our our tandem mock, Megan and Kenneth Grant in the second round. I honestly don't believe that would be possible. I think he's going to go in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
But where do the Walter Nolans and the Derek Harmons of the world kind of start going? Mason Graham's kind of that first domino to drop, but then after that, where does that run start? And at some point, is there a run?
Mm-hmm.
Do we get a run where there's 3 out of 4 picks or a D tackle, and suddenly there's a team that really wants one that kind of has to make a move to get somebody that's left?
Where do you think? Well, you think that's going to be our first run? Because usually you're going to have those runs.
Yeah, I think D tackle would probably be a pretty decent spot where it could go. I think so many times it seems like the league is focused on what they saw last. And what we saw last in the Super Bowl was obviously the Eagles built inside out, deep, pass rush group from the edge and also up the middle. And I just think that, there's probably a lot of teams that are kind of looking at that saying, okay, we got to get, we got to get a guy. If we were to get one, then we got to have 2.
Right. So yeah, I think that's probably it. Edge rusher too. It'll be. I'm interested to see how many running backs go actually too, because obviously Ashton's going to be the first one picked out there. Then you got the kid from North Carolina, Omar.
Yep, O'Marion Hampton.
Yeah. And then could we get another one that leaks in there? Are we, because you talk about what have we seen? Look at last year with running backs, with the veteran running backs, right? And teams having success with running backs. Does that make some teams?
And this year in free agency, there really wasn't that bevy of them.
No. So does that get some of the teams maybe want to, I don't know, get focused more on running the football? Because we talk about a lot of times it goes in cycles, right? And it goes in waves and such. And you got, Denver maybe looking for one. We talked about Chicago maybe looking for one. What did Pete Carroll want to do all the time in Seattle? He wanted to run the football. Mike Vrabel is in New England. He wants to run the football. So, and Jacksonville's rumored to be interested in Ashton too. So there's a lot of potential with this. So, but yeah, I'm curious. I think it's only going to be 2, but maybe somebody leaks it.
Yeah.
How much do you think the 5th year, because we talk a lot about with the 5th year option when it comes to quarterbacks, but what about running backs?
I'm not sure, because unless you're that elite level running back, I don't think your running back contract's necessarily breaking the bank. So we talk about a lot with quarterbacks, because obviously, if you go up to get a quarterback and that quarterback ends up being any good, that 5th year option and just having literally that option is worth its weight in gold.
Right.
So for running back, I'm not sure, but that is something I think to keep in mind once we get to the last 5 or 6 pick of the first round, where if you're Cleveland or New York or one of those teams in the early second round, and there's a guy there that you want to get, maybe it's worth it to give up a little, knowing that if that guy ends up being good, you just have another year to work with before they get paid big time.
Right. So yeah, looking at that, obviously the wide receivers, I'm curious to see which one actually goes first tonight, because we've seen, first of all, it was Golden that was supposed to be the number 1. Then it's, now it's McMillan,
Ted McMillan, yeah,
from Arizona. Then you got Emeka from Ohio State mixed in there. If you look at a lot of the mock drafts out there, they're all over the place and who's going to go first. And one of them one of the mock drafts that came out yesterday was Peter Schrager's, and he actually has Green Bay taking Golden at 23. McMillan has been the guy that's been attached a lot with Green Bay, but I really feel like if they want him, they're going to have to trade up to get him. And I would be shocked if Green Bay trades up to purposely get a wide receiver. That would surprise me.
Given, like we said, there's several first round caliber, it seems, receivers on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a time where they just kind of see what comes to them if they feel comfortable with those different options.
Right. So I'm kind of curious to see how those, and then you look at that second round group of wide receivers, and after tonight we'll see if there's any maybe somebody joins that group that we don't know. But that's the Jaden Higginses. That's some of the Luthers that we just over there too. If those are guys in the second round, like we talk about runs, I feel like next or tomorrow, that's where we may see some of the runs is going with those wide receivers a little bit.
Right, and maybe that running back run comes early in the second round.
Yeah,
depending on if obviously Gentile go, and we believe former Marion Hampton does, but then you got the two running backs from Ohio State. You've got a lot of other potential options there. Where Caleb Johnson from Iowa, that has seemed like more in recent years that sweet spot has been the second round. You think of Jonathan Taylor, and there's so many other options, but obviously that's one we're well aware of. But maybe that's kind of the for people that are interested in running back, maybe they do just kind of wait until day 2, and then because you see a lot of movement, maybe in day 2, maybe tomorrow is the moving day.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So, that's why I love day 2 though too. That's why I love round 2 and round 3, because I think we've seen over years too a lot of teams, and this is, I know for some, I think, I don't want to speak for you, but I think you liked it better when it was just a 2-day draft.
I did.
Yeah.
But I have a very specific reason for
right.
that.
So for me though, I love the current format of it because what we have seen opening up in round 2 is a boatload of trades over the years where teams now, okay, after that first round, they regroup and kind of like, okay, let's reassess to see where they get. And we have seen within the first few picks so many trades.
Right. Teams are talking throughout the day, coming up with kind of contingency plans. Well, if pick 33 goes this way, this person's there, maybe we make our move, or such and such. So yeah, that is 100% true.
Right. And that's where Green Bay was one of those a couple of years ago when they moved up to get Christian Watson and such. I mean, that's where if we see some of these guys get pushed out of the first round, you're going to see a big jump tomorrow in terms of teams trying to move up and get one of those. And that could be a wide receiver, that could be running back, and we'll see how many edge rushers go tonight too. And if there's a few that are still available, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's going to be guys trying to trade up to get those. So it is getting a little, I feel like, chillier.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get my hoodie out.
Yeah, temperatures dropped a few degrees.
I mean, it is Lambeau. I should have prepared a little bit better and such, but they've got the lights on, the stages already, getting ready. Waving to the good old
Security,
blue, the police.
Yep,
so,
they're making their.
But that stage is massive.
Yes, yeah. Like, I think we might have to train. We'll have to maybe adjust the camera.
Yeah.
So people can kind of like.
I'll turn it right now.
Yeah,
nobody wants to see us.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Could see the top of it a little bit. So that's you can kind of see the top because, of course, the NFL. So we're looking at Lombardi Avenue. Just to kind of give a glimpse, like Lombardi Avenue is like 20 yards, not even 20 yards from us. It's kind of weird to see people walking by because it's literally on Lombardi Avenue. It's not a sidewalk. It looks like a sidewalk because they've got the fence up and it's blacked out.
But yeah, it is the road.
But so they've got it kind of all blacked out. So essentially people can't just watch from their yards or, they want people to funnel into the draft experience and such. So, but just to kind of see the stage in person, it is it's huge.
I'll be honest though, like if we were staying in one of these houses right here, I might be tempted to just sit here.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it just looks weird. I don't know how else to describe it. Like a couple people were asking me last night, and I mean, I get it. People were just like constantly trying to reach out and such, and like, but what's it like and all that. And I'm like, it just looks weird. I don't know how else to describe it. Like it's Lambeau. And then this huge stage that's almost as tall as Lambeau. Does that, if you're kind of eyeballing it a little bit?
I mean,
so if anybody has
taller,
seen Lambeau,
but yeah, it's
because we're looking at the atrium. So, you got that corner, that pillar right there. and the stage is almost just as tall.
Yeah, it's comparable. It's not as tall, but it's close.
Yeah, and it's like right in. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it besides weird
And
at this
big.
point. Yeah, I can't. If there's anybody that lives in these houses, for one, and they don't like the noise, then what you probably shouldn't be living in a house like this. But it's remarkable, and the fact that they just started doing this last week, a couple weeks ago, putting everything together, and I guarantee you, they're gonna have all this down in like a matter of days.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's easier to take it all down, right? Because
Right.
we were here yesterday, and they must have been doing some sound checks
Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
because, I mean, they had can we just call him the NFL voice? I don't know his name, but he does the Super Bowls and all that stuff in the draft, and introducing the players and
they
such.
were going
So
through that. So that is not live. So if you're wondering,
yeah,
if you've ever wondered,
it was. So yeah, we were here when they were kind of doing a sound check and such. But I'm curious to see just how it's going to flow. I still have my doubt. What are you looking at?
oh nothing.
Oh, okay. You're freaking me out when you do that.
Well,
Like,
I thought you were freaking out.
no, I was just checking the battery on that. We got time, but so I can plug it in. We got
Okay.
a
All
few
right,
minutes
good,
to the top
good,
here.
good.
So, but I still have my doubts whether they're going to break Detroit's record. That's 750,000.
I don't think so.
We were kind of scoping out the maps yesterday and trying to figure out, because they're really funneling in people. Like, I think there's just 2 entrances for this, and it's that way. It's towards Titletown, over there where the entrance is for fans and such. So I don't know, but so little bit of an insight here. This was actually from Brandon, and we saw it yesterday. But in one of these houses, Matt Leinert's doing his podcast.
Correct.
And he's got a stage set up in the backyard.
Yeah, it's like 8 houses down from where we are right now.
Yeah. And so if you walk by, you'll see the stage set up. And yesterday they had security guards out. Like, okay, guy, this. But then you had like moving trucks, and people were like moving furniture in and out of these houses. So I don't know if they were setting it up for other people.
Very interesting, yeah.
It was kind of weird, like going down our road here and seeing that, and just
being looky-loos.
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of have to walk around. I would suggest, if you're coming down here, I just felt the raindrop. I would suggest, if you're coming down here, see, it's on my phone too. Is it raining? Come on. To try to get here early and get the lay of the land.
Yeah.
And kind of walk around, because I don't know what people are coming in with preconceived conceptions and such, but get over here early if you can and try to figure out, okay, this is where you have to go, this is where this is at and such, because it is fenced off quite a bit. So don't just assume that when you get here that you can enter the draft area wherever. There is only a couple of entrances, and you might be walking.
Right.
You're going to be walking quite a bit.
Yep.
So that's just my advice. I know we walked quite a bit yesterday just to get a little bit of a feel for it and such. So, but I'll be getting my steps in for sure.
Yes.
If you have one of those watches like I do, make
That
sure it's
tells you.
turned on, and it'll tell you how many steps that you're going to get in there and that. But all right, so coming up next hour, because we got a few minutes left until the top here, I'll do my first round mock, and then I'll do the first round mock, and then I'll do the Packers seven round mock. So we'll do that, and then maybe I'll look. I'm kind of worried to like do too much on the computers because of our reception and such. So I don't want to load up a whole lot going on here, but we'll maybe hit me up on Twitter or X or something like that, and Facebook if you want to chime in. I'm a little bit worried to open up too many things and everything crashes down. We're kind of running on bare bones reception here.
We are lean and mean.
Like, I appreciate, because the NFL did put up extra towers and such, but it's hard to explain if you're just not here and seeing what probably everything is running off of right now.
Yep.
If that kind of makes sense. So it's a lot right now, but yeah, we're literally, I would say, right between the draft stage and Lambeau Field.
Right.
Is kind of our setup here.
The draft stage is at 10 o'clock, and Lambeau is at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, just like you're driving.
From where we are.
Put your hands on the steering wheel. right there. But okay. So with just a couple minutes left here, Brandon, and such and that throughout this morning and the next couple of hours and that too. But looking at the Brewers last night, they did fall 4-2 to the Giants. It was a pitching duel for the longest time. Then the Giants put up 4 runs in the bottom 6. Brewers cut it in half in the 9th. But, kind of looking at, then they play this afternoon. So that's about 2:45 first pitch that you'll be able to hear on the radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. But it's looking to at least split this series with the Giants, and then they got to travel on the road to the Cardinals right afterwards. Tobias Myers, I think, is still officially getting the starts today. So
that was last I'd seen. That was the.
I'm, I don't want to put a whole lot of expectations into his first start, but I'm really excited, curious to see what he can do this year based off what we saw last year. Is it fair to say he was the best starter from June on for the Brewers?
Yep.
And so what should the expectation be for something similar to last year? Should we lower it?
You know what? I don't think he's going to have another sub-3 ERA.
Yeah.
That's just hard to do. But if he can be below 4, but still provide quality innings, like that's what this team's looking for.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be an ace, but if you can be a solid kind of middle of the rotation innings eater, like that goes a long way. Those pitchers are very valuable.
Right. Yeah. So I'm excited to finally get him back though too. And then you've got I know Logan Henderson was sent down, but you look at some of these guys, Brandon. How do you not get excited for the next couple of years with? And Jacob Mizorowski is going to be up at some point.
He had a great start, his most recent start down in Nashville. So yeah, there's they had to test it a little bit early, but there is some with some of the players, but there is some depth there.
Yeah. So, but I'm good to see Tobias get back here because then it's kind of like, okay, Quintana, we know what he's done so far. Freddie Peralta still solid. Tobias coming in. Brandon Woodruff's kind of the next one to come up next month.
Patrick has done everything you could have hoped he would.
And even I know there are some Brewers fans that are upset about Logan getting sent down. He's going to be back up. Right. You got Craig Yoho coming up, and we got to see him. So I feel like we're going to see Logan.
It was just kind of a numbers game at this point.
Yeah. So, all right, what do we got? 10 seconds until the shot clock cuts us off here. So coming up, we'll do some news updates, and then we'll do some more mocks coming up here in just a little bit. So coming to you from Green Bay, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back after these quick words.
What we have, what we're all about, and do it Wisconsin style. The NFL has many scheduled events for this weekend, parties, concerts, all of it, and fans should be wrapped up in the mix as well. If you're headed that way, just a reminder of something you probably don't need me to tell you, but parking is going to be real limited. They're expecting big crowds, and the NFL draft gets ready to kick off in Green Bay today. In headlines and moving to our area, we go to the courts where one of the teenagers accused of shooting a BB gun and moving cars gets his case settled. Dominic Hepperly was charged last year when he was 17 years old and had a total of 4 counts against him. As 2 people had reported their cars were hit by someone shooting at them, and one of the people did get cuts on their face as well. Yesterday, Hepperly was given a deferred agreement as part of a plea deal, and as long as he follows the agreement and doesn't commit any crimes, those charges would be dropped. Well, here in Lake Hallie, a man is arrested after a firearm was pointed at law enforcement. This all happened Easter Sunday a little before 9:30 in the morning, where police officers responded to the 4,000 block of 131st Street after the Chippewa County Center received a call from a person identified as 59-year-old Scott Braun from Lake Alley. He gave little information, quickly ended the phone call, and when officers came, Braun opened the door without saying anything and aimed a handgun directly at the officer. You can find full details online, including a release from Lake Alley Police at 715newsroom.com. Oh, were you kind of waiting for that whole student loan thing to go away? It's not. If loans are still a part of your life, the Department of Education is going to start collecting defaulted student loan debt soon. What does that mean for you?
The department announced collections will begin on May 5th, and borrowers could be referred to debt collectors or have money deducted from their paychecks. Student loan repayment requirements were paused in March 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Biden administration opted not to resume collections and attempted to forgive student loan debt in a program that was ultimately struck down by the Supreme Court. The Trump administration has indicated it would offer no such concessions to borrowers. I'm Mark Mansfield.
And Kasper is at the draft. Pretty cool stuff. He's in Green Bay right now representing us. The early call is he might get stuck there. His ride abandoned him. So I'm going to pass the hat around, see if we can get him back there.
Collections will begin on May 5th.
I mean, I didn't say I was in a rush. First Sports Talk, 105.1. I suppose I'm Tarzan.
We're waking up on this Thursday morning to partly cloudy skies across the area. While rain is appearing on radar this morning, a lot of it not making its way down to the ground thanks to relatively drier air in place. Still, a possible scattered shower cannot be ruled out this morning, but coverage will increase in the evening and into the overnight. Mostly cloudy skies will prevail, daytime highs at 58. I'm 13 First Alert meteorologist Sarah Lighthizer.
When it comes to one-stop shopping, there's truly only one store in the Chippewa Valley that can carry that title, and that's Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. From grocery shopping and picking up some new team apparel in their sports shop, to grabbing a beverage at the bar or picking up something from their massive wine and spirits department, Hy-Vee has something for everyone. And if you want someone else to cook for the night, they got you covered with many different options from their food courts. And when you head out, don't forget to fill up your gas tank with the fuel savers you earned by shopping at Hy-Vee. So the next time you go shopping, shop smart shopping.
Rocket.com is a single, seamless home ownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, even refinance your home. Visit Rocket.com today, the new home for all things home ownership. Ladies and gentlemen, sports aficionados and armchair quarterbacks, welcome to the Dan Kasper Show, where sports passion meets expert analysis. Dan's encyclopedic knowledge and infectious passion for all things sports is both impressive and sad.
I have many leather-bound books.
So get ready to laugh, cheer, and maybe even face-palm a few times.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response will you even close to anything that can be considered a rational thought.
It's the Dan Kasper Show.
Second hour coming to you live from Green Bay for day one, round one of the NFL draft, which, 12 hours from now, Brandon?
Yeah, 12 hours from now, the Tennessee Titans will be on the clock.
Yeah, well, they've been on the clock, but they will officially be on the clock.
And Tennessee, if you're listening, and I know you probably are, but if you know it's Cam Ward, you don't have to take all 10 minutes.
Well, that's the thing, too. It's like, especially since they came out and said we're staying with the pick. Just turn it in, please, for the love of.
Come on, hustle in, hustle out.
Part of it, though, I think, is the NFL drawing it out. So it's.
I don't believe they would do that.
But yeah, so it's Cam Ward, and then the draft starts at number 2, right? Starts off at number 2. So
we feel like I'm sure some combination of Travis Hunter and Bill Carter going 2-3. It's just a matter of who to wear.
Yeah, there are some dudes, some fans that are. Can you hear them in the background just hooting and hollering? I don't know where it's coming from.
I didn't know what it was at first.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find that party and hang out with them. Probably the Cheesehead TV crew that are just a few houses down too. So, but want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, AJM Automotive Services, Home Oasis. We've got the grill. We're going to do some breakfast hopefully here in a little bit. I might just have to sit around the grill because I am just like freezing right now. And then SCS Swiderski. Big thanks for our draft sponsors. out there helping us get to the draft here too. So if you're just joining in and such, we sound a little robotic in that it's the reception here where there's a lot of stuff going on right now. So reception may be a little sketchy and such, but Brandon says you can still hear.
I was testing a couple times on the live stream during the first hour just to hear it. And
Okay.
like I said, you get you can hear what we're saying. We just again.
Okay. It doesn't just sound like my handsomely voice.
No.
It doesn't.
We are no.
All right.
We're not sticks. We're not Mr. Roboto here. So.
So there's the doggy. So, but morning.
Morning.
But yeah, Midwestern, nice.
We waved at several people walking by.
But seriously, you can understand.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure. We're doing a decent job here. So, all right. Coming up here in just a little bit. I'll do my first round mock draft, then we'll do the 7-round Packers mock draft. That way everybody can yell at me and get to that. But if you want to hit me or Brandon up on X or Twitter, you can do so, because I don't want to do too much on the computers. But you can check out the live stream too. The live stream is going. Instead of having the camera on us, we've got it pointed at Lambeau right now, just to kind of give a sense of how close
at some
we
point
are.
we might have to go on the other side of the table.
Probably.
Have us with the backdrop.
That I didn't even think of that. So that's why we bring you here, Brandon.
My mom says it's just a little scratchy. So.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Hey, just a little bit. It's not bad.
See, now you guys are making me feel bad right now. So now
there was literally nothing you could do.
Yeah, but you're making me feel bad now, dude.
I'm gonna channel my inner
your mom just made me feel really bad right now. So yeah.
She didn't tell you anything I didn't already say.
You didn't use the word scratchy.
I said robotic. It's the same kind of thing.
No, it's not. So no, it's not. Is that something that's got to be turned down? I don't know. This is why we need
Don't ask me. You don't want me to start turning knobs
don't
on
touch
that.
anything. Just don't.
That's
touch
I've learned that a long time ago. I'm not pushing buttons. I'm not
don't
turning
push
knobs. I'm not
buttons.
doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Should I just get my notebook out and do? Because I wrote it down, old school.
We got Joe on the live stream saying that
it sounds just
good.
fine. Joe, you're my new best friend.
There you go. You saved it, Joe.
Joe's my best friend now. So appreciate it, dude. There you go.
You've got the notebook.
Rocket book.
It's a notebook.
Because I like writing. I have bad handwriting.
You believe in penmanship.
And my hands are probably going to be shaking while I'm reading this because I'm just
you're just so excited about it.
Freezing right now. So, all right. So we're going to do first round mock.
Yeah.
First round mock. So I don't really have any set rules with this. I know some people for example, Schrager's is what he's hearing, sources. Some people do what I think they should do or what they should do or whatever. I'm just doing mine based off of everything. Perfect fits, what they should do, needs, all that stuff.
The whole shebang
there. So my first pick, got a surprise. Cam Ward, quarterback, Miami. Coming in hot, setting the tone right away. So Cam Ward is the first overall pick. And okay, so let me ask you this really quick. If J.J. McCarthy was in the draft this year, would he be the number 1 overall pick, do you think?
I'm not 100% sure because, it would obviously depend on what happened with his this past year at Michigan. But he would be no worse than the second quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think he would be a quarterback that teams would have taken top 5-ish. I think there might have been more of a conversation for, the Browns at 2 or the Giants at 3.
Yeah. So easily would be the second quarterback.
I believe so.
Top 2.
I think so.
Yeah. Ahead of Shedeur.
Yes.
Okay. So.
In my opinion.
All right. So number 2, at the Browns, I got Travis Hunter. I am intrigued about a potential Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter pairing, but hearing Andrew Berry, they're just use the word unicorn when it comes to Travis Hunter. That'll be drafted. So, Travis Hunter. Now, obviously, does draft Travis Hunter. If it is Cleveland at number 2, they're going to ask wide receiver, quarter, or both. I feel like the Browns are going to do both.
We might as well.
You might as well, right? What are you grinning at now?
I'm not. I'm just
okay. You grabbed your phone and you were grinning. Okay.
Focus
Stop
on the
distracting me.
mock.
Number 3, Abdul Carter. I mean, I know they got, they traded for Brian Burns. Was that last year already? Was that last year?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
year
it was.
before and
It
such?
was.
So, but again, they play in the division with the Eagles. They know about pass rush and defensive line and such. So, Giants, it's got to become Sack City over there. So they get their cornerstone edge rusher, Abdul Carter. Patriots, I'm not buying the Ashton Genty talk or anything like that, or even Mason Graham, possibly. I know it's Mike Vrabel, but you got Drake May. You're putting a lot of eggs in your basket with him. You got to protect him. So I'm going Will Campbell, offensive tackle from LSU. Number
5.
Oh, no, I thought somebody was up there. Number
What
5.
are you looking at?
I thought somebody was on top of Lambeau there. Number 5, Jaguars. Again, could it be Ashton? Could be. They need help on offensive line and defensive line, so I went with Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan. 6 is where I've got the running back coming off of the Raiders. Although I would not be surprised if, say, the Bears tried to trade up and get Ashton. And I know I've said this before, what the Bears did this offseason, I think, is what a lot of fans would like to see their teams do. Address a lot of needs in free agency, go into the draft with some flexibility.
Yes.
Because the Bears completely upgraded their offensive line. If they didn't do any of that, I think we're talking about them drafting offensive line.
And not just through free
allowed them to trade up and try to get a running back or somebody else. So, but I haven't gotten there yet. Raiders, Ashton Genty. Carroll coming in. He wants to run the football. Kelly, offensive coordinator. You got a unique weapon with Ashton. I'm curious to see how that goes. Give Geno Smith, who you traded for, and you give him a new contract, give him some weapons over there to succeed. So, number 7, you got the Jets and America's coach, Aaron Glenn, since he told off Aaron Rodgers. He comes from Detroit. And what did Detroit do right before they got to where they're at? What were they doing? They were investing in offensive line, right? I mean, they fortified that thing to where they're now like the best group, or maybe one of the best groups out there. Jets have had issues with offensive line the last couple of years.
As their former coach or quarterback would tell you.
Exactly. So Armand, the offensive tackle from Missouri.
Armand Membu from Missouri.
Yep. So, I mean, I think you go there and you start building up just like Detroit did where Aaron Glenn came from. And it maybe took a couple years, but it's working out right now. So, and plus, if you want Justin Fields to succeed, give him some protection.
Yeah, he's already got some weapons. So.
Yep. This is where things get interesting for me now. Number 8, Panthers. Do you give Bryce Young some weapons? Do you give him more protection? What do you do on the defensive side? Because there's a lot of needs. Do you go secondary here? I got Jalen Walker, the linebacker from Georgia, going here. Now, there's been some talk about whether what kind of linebacker is he? Is he an inside backer like in a 4-3 or a 3-4? Is he an edge player? Listening to the Dan Morgan, who kind of knows that a little bit about that.
In his day with the Panthers.
And he said that he's an edge rusher for them. And that is a big need for the Panthers. Get a little flexibility with him too, versatility. I got Walker from Georgia, linebacker from Georgia going there. Saints, do they go quarterback? Do they go elsewhere? Do they go defense? You got Kellen Moore, another first-time head coach coming in here. You look at his stops. What is one thing they've all had in common? Some really good receivers, multiple good receivers, whether it was his time in Dallas with CeeDee Lamb and everybody that he had over there, Philadelphia last year. Tet McMillan, number 9, going to the Saints to pair up with Chris Olave. Saints just picked up that 5th-year option for Chris Olave. Now you pair him up with a bigger wide receiver to go over there too. So I got McMillan, number 9, going to the Saints, giving Kellen Moore another big target to go over there. And then the Bears, by the way, I did not mock any trades.
No,
I tried that 2 years
that's
ago.
Tough. That's
and
tough.
I feel like we'll probably get some.
There will be. I mean, they're
though there hasn't been any yet, which is the closest we've ever gotten to a draft with nothing involving a first rounder.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't mock any. But if there was a team that would move up, again, I could see it being the Bears. But in this case, I don't. So they get a tight end, Tyler Warren from Penn State, pairing up with Cole Kmet to give Ben Johnson his 2 tight end sets. Then you're looking at that offense, and you're like, holy moly, dude.
Yeah.
So
Then
40
it really is on the quarterback.
yeah. Yep. 49ers, they lost a lot of guys this offseason. They could go wide receiver. They traded Deebo Samuel. They want to make sure they got enough talent for Brock Purdy, who's going to get a huge payday. They lost a lot of defensive stuff. Robert Saleh's coming back as defensive coordinator. Edge rusher, D tackle. I got them going Will Johnson corner from Michigan. So, Cowboys, this one was kind of hard. Because I thought maybe edge rusher. They got Micah Parsons. Could they go defense again? Again, do they go running back? Potentially move up to try to, because they've been trying to plug that thing for, they're not doing Ezekiel Elliott round 3 again, essentially. So I went with Matthew Golden, wide receiver from Texas, for 2 reasons. One, he's from Texas. And then I read that Jerry Jones FaceTimed his mom on his visit. I'm like, oh, God. Jerry Jones is in love. So Matthew Golden pairing up with CeeDee Lamb is who I got. So number 13, the Dolphins. If Tua is still your dude, which he is, they may need some defensive help, but you got to protect him. So I got Kelvin Banks, the offensive tackle from Texas.
Also,
back-to-back Texas.
Possibly could kick inside the guard too. So there's
Yep.
some versatility there. I mean,
Yep.
a guy that you believe can play. It's just a matter of where, but you got options.
Right. Yep. So I've got him going at 13. 14, the Colts. This might be one of the most popular picks. Like, I haven't seen a lot of people adjust from just this position. I think everybody has the Colts picking a tight end in every mock draft that I've read. Like, I don't know if Daniel Jones has a legit shot to try to beat him out or anything, to beat out Anthony Richardson, but they got Michael Pittman and such, but I do have them going Colston, the tight end from Michigan, over there to give them another big target. So number 15, Falcons. You got Raheem Morris, right? Defensive-minded guy over there. Michael Penix, you try to give him more weapons. He's got Drake London. He's got Kyle Pitts. You give him more protection up there, but Raheem Morris is defensive-minded guy. So I'm going edge rusher Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M.
To me, one of the more interesting prospects in this class, because the production's not there, but the physical tools and what he tests at the combine are off the charts.
And he, I feel like, is a very popular name for Packers fans, which I'm not disagreeing with it, but I find it ironic because
I know where you're going with this.
He sounds exactly like Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness.
A guy that's going to take some time to develop.
Right. And you hear from Packers fans about their frustration level with those two.
With drafting a project.
Right. So if they do that and you're happy, then in the same breath, you need to give Lucas Van Ness this year. Mm-hmm. You can't go out there and say he's a bust already. You need to give him this year to see what you got. So I'm glad you and I were on the same page there. So where am I at? Cardinals, 16. They go edge rusher, Michael Williams from Georgia. One of the more intriguing. That's a nice little table over there, isn't it?
I'm trying to figure out what it was.
Yeah, it's a nice little table. Our chef Josh created it.
And
Chef Joshua created it, so it's pretty sweet over there. But yeah, Williams, edge rusher, Georgia. I got going to the Cardinals again. Defense. You look at that division. I think the Rams are probably the favorites for that division this year.
But suddenly, that's a division for the Cardinals. There's some upward mobility.
I think they took a big step last year.
Right, and with it, if they get some good contributors in this class, that could be a wild card team at least.
Right. Bengals. There was a mock. I don't know which one it was, but I don't know if it was a mock or if I was just thinking this. There's no way in hell are they drafting a wide receiver.
Oh, my God.
There's just no way.
If you thought it was crazy that I did in our Duo 7-round mock, it's even crazier for the Bengals to do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're not drafting a wide receiver in this one. They need help on defense now. They've invested too much. I still think Trey Hendrickson's going to be there. They'll figure it out, but they still need help up front. This to me is like, I don't know if I want to use the word safe, but to me, he is probably solid, the most solid. This is the guy I would really be happy if Green Bay got him. Derek Harmon, defense tackle from Oregon.
We had this conversation yesterday, obviously not on air, but I'm in the same boat. Like if he was there for Minnesota, I would say, you know what, pick him.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like with Derek Harmon.
Yep. If he was there for Green Bay, I would not be upset if they picked him too. I don't know if I want to use the word safe. He's solid, like a really good football player that does a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Over there. Seahawks, they could go wide out. I mean, they lost DK. They traded him.
Tyler Lockett just signed with Tennessee.
Yep. So they got Jackson Smith and Jigba. They might want to pair up, maybe another Ohio State receiver coming over. But they also invested a lot of money in Sam Darnold. And Brandon, what did Sam Darnold struggle with last year? When he was maybe getting some pressure?
Right, yeah.
So
the last two games were not necessarily kind to him,
right?
With teams being able to get after him.
So I feel like, in that game in the playoffs, the Rams, who had a lot of decision, does Seattle play in?
Same one
with the Rams. So maybe in John Schneider, former De Pere native.
Shout out to Pierre.
Maybe invest in some offensive line, get Tyler Booker from Alabama to shore that up, because I do think you have to factor in, okay, we saw what the Rams did to Sam Darnold last year in the playoffs. Let's boost up our offensive line.
And Tyler Booker's a guy, he's an interior guy. He's got some nasty to him, a really smart guy. I mean, he's a guy that grades really well on the intangibles.
Yep.
Like the guy that you want in your offensive line room.
Yep. So we're at 19, the Buccaneers. This was one that I just kept going back to. So I did like a couple practice ones, and I'm like, this just seems like a guy that the Buccaneers would go after. That's Jahdae Barron, the corner. Kind of a versatile corner, a physical. Like you hear a lot of people say he's Brian Branch, that type of player. And I don't know why, but I kept thinking Buccaneers, Todd Bowles, Winfield Jr., that type of mold.
Yeah, some versatility there with some of their, see that.
So I got Barron going to the Buccaneers. Broncos at number 20. I'm going to go with Hampton, the running back.
Hampton from North Carolina.
I know that's like the sexy pick that everybody's got going on out there. They could go another wideout. But I feel like you look at Sean Payton, had Reggie Bush, Alvin Kamara, give Bo Nix.
Ingram.
To give Bo Nix another weapon, offensive weapon.
That running game last year for them wasn't very good.
No, it was really up and down. Williams, I mean, just
they accomplished a lot for not having a great run game.
Exactly. The slide is over for Shedeur at 21. I think there's two coaches right now. I'd say three, but one is legit not getting them, and that's Andy Reid. But there's only a couple coaches I feel like right now that could handle all that comes with Shedeur. Not just the play, but he is Deion Sanders' kid.
Yeah, the attention.
Attention, whether it's positive or negative, that aura, whatever the heck you want to call it. There's only a couple. Pete Carroll would be one. Pete Carroll would embrace it, I think, a little bit and just use it. He would use it to their benefit. And Mike Tomlin. And I feel like, I don't want to speak for Deion, but I would love to see his kid play for Mike Tomlin.
That's someone I think he would respect and stay hands off on because of his track record.
Exactly. So he would sit, I think, first year. I don't know if it's going to be Aaron, Kirk Cousins, whoever, but maybe he doesn't sit. I don't know. But I feel like if there was somebody, if you're going to bring in Shedeur, you got to be able to handle what comes with that too. And I think Pittsburgh, of what's left here, Pittsburgh's that team. Chiefs, yeah, but Andy Reid's not.
That's
that sort of thing. So, going to go right there. Chargers, number 2. Mike Green, edge rusher from Marshall. They lose Joey Bosa. They did bring back Khalil Mack, but he's getting a little long in the tooth there too. So, fortifying that defense with another pass rusher. Number 23.
You sat up in your chair.
I was wondering if I should take a break.
Oh, you get
No, I won't do that. I won't do that. All right, so number 23. So in our mock that we did with the computer, I ended up going with Nolan because that's who was on the board. Right?
Yep.
Yes, I know the audio is not the great coach. We know that. So,
Yep.
All right, sidetracked. Wide receiver, defensive tackle, offensive line, corner. I went with a cornerback at 23. And I told you he's in attendance tonight. Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky.
yeah.
The speed guy, sub 4.340. The thing that worries me a little bit is the weight, but apparently he's added more weight because Green Bay does have their measurables. They've deviated towards that at times, but I'm going to go with Harrison because I like what he's an outside corner. He gives you that speed because I think when you look at the secondary, the corner group right now for Green Bay, they lack some of that speed. Assuming Jair is gone, Jair is going to be gone. You bring him in. If he's added that weight, you've got that taken care of. It just, that to me, and the more I thought about it, I like that pick a lot for Green Bay. So Maxwell Harrison, a name that you probably haven't heard about too much from some fans in that, but that's who I'm going to roll with at 23.
Now we're starting to get to the spot of the draft though, where like like the difference between like late first, early second, like it's not, significant. I mean, like different people may have a slightly different opinion. This is kind of that part. I had this guy at the end of the first. Really, it's negligible once you get to this part of the back eighth or the back 8, 9 picks of the first round.
Yep. So, 24, your team. I got Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia.
Sounds good to me.
Texans, I'm going to go Josh Simmons, offensive tackle from Ohio State. I mean, Larry Tunsil's gone.
Need help.
Yeah, so he's gone. You bring him on and that. So let's do 26. Rams did a really good job drafting defense last year.
They did.
Right? They did a really good job. And I think they go defense again. Campbell, linebacker from Alabama.
Jet Campbell, very versatile player.
Yep. So Ravens, Walter Nolan. We've talked about this where the Ravens and Eagles are two teams that usually like, how the heck did that guy get there?
And this is
one of them.
Yep.
Is how does Walter Nolan fall and get somehow to the Ravens? Because it works out that way.
That's just how
it works out. Lions, they need another edge rusher to pair up with Aiden Hutchinson. So I got Nick Scorton, the edge rusher from Texas A&M, going over there. Commanders, James Pierce Jr., Dan Quinn gets an edge rusher to pair up with that defense. Bills need a safety too. So I think they get the next one on the board from South Carolina, Nick
Amwari.
Thank you. And then the Chiefs, kind of a little bit maybe like the Eagles and Ravens, where a guy kind of just falls there. Gray Zabel.
Yeah.
Guard, tackle,
and
NDSU.
He played tackle at North Dakota State. Probably more of an interior guy. Could be guard. Could be center.
Yep.
I mean, they got Creed Humphrey, so
right. And then the Eagles, Donovan Ezerosku, the defensive end from Boston College. So
Eagles staying addressing that defensive line. That makes sense.
Yep. So that's my first round. There you go. All right, we'll take a quick break, and we'll do a Packers 7 round coming up after this.
Warmer weather, more time on your feet. Make sure every step feels great, whether it's running, walking, or working. Proper support matters. The Shoe Doctor carries a wide selection of supportive shoes, custom insoles, and footwear solutions designed for comfort and performance. Stop in to find the right fit for spring and summer activities. The Shoe Doctor, helping feet feel their best, season after season. Visit the Shoe Doctor today at 2321 East Claremont Avenue or online at ShoeDoctorEauClaire.com, where comfort starts.
Spring is here, which means one thing: turkey hunting season. So you've got your tags, you know the dates you're heading out to the woods, but what's missing? That new turkey shotgun and some extra shells. Time to hit up Building Gun. Locally owned and operated, Building Gun has the best selection of firearms in the area and all at the best prices in the area. Their expert staff will help you find the hunting firearm that you want and that fits your price range. And if you're not a turkey hunter, but you're in the market for a new deer rifle, or you want to check out their wall of handguns, they will help you find just what you're looking for. And if you have a little left over from your tax return this season, purchase something for yourself this year. You deserve it. So give them a visit today at buildinggun.com or check out their shop located at 12427 98th Avenue in Chippewa Falls. Now the only thing left on your to-do list this turkey season is working on your calling skills. So get to practicing. On behalf of Building Gun, best of luck and be safe in the great outdoors this season.
When you're in the business of building the future, why rely on yesterday's internet technology? 100% fiber internet from TDS is engineered to handle industrial strength demand with turbocharged symmetrical speeds and 99.9% network reliability. Get internet that keeps your business light years ahead. Upgrade to cable-crushing TDS fiber internet. Strong enough for your business, strong enough for you. Learn more at tdsbusiness.com. Internet speeds are up to and not guaranteed. Subject to availability. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Broadcasting live from the TDS Sports Talk 105.1 studios. It's the Dan Kasper Show.
You understand what we're saying? Yeah.
All right, we're back from Green Bay here for the first round of the NFL draft. Again, just as a reminder, we know, yes, it sounds a little robot-y, but it's a really busy time right now. There's a lot of
The
stuff going on.
the air around us right now is full of all kinds of signals from various TVs and radios and all that good stuff. So
please,
bear with us. We appreciate you being with us, but we're aware.
Yep. So please, you don't need to text it back too. So he tried to do a lot of stuff over here too. Some mock drafts. Anything kind of stand out to you at all with it?
I mean, there was a decent run early on tackles,
Right.
on defensive tackles, which it's a very Shadur going is interesting, and the quarterbacks we're aware of.
Right.
I can speak for the Vikings pick. I really liked it. Malachi Starks, if he ends up in purple and gold by the end of the night, I will be.
Right. So, all right. You ready?
Yeah.
So, Maxwell Hairston was the corner out of Kentucky, was the first round pick.
So I'm assuming you're keeping consistency with that then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You're not hedging your bets. I like it.
That would otherwise, that would be kind of ridiculous, right?
I was going to say, you're kind of hedging your bet. I mean, what kind of credibility would you have as a professional mock drafter?
All right, Maxwell Hairston is the first pick. My second pick then was actually my same second pick that we did in the first hour, Jaden Higgins, Iowa State wide receiver.
When you were kind of looking a little bit, okay, that makes sense.
Yep. So that's where I'm going with Jaden Higgins, a bigger wide receiver. Going to, when it comes to wide receivers for Green Bay too, I think you look at because there isn't a Christian Watson in this draft. You don't have a tall, fast wide receiver. So Green Bay can't find that one receiver that can completely fill in what Christian Watson is able to do. So what's the next best thing? You maybe have to try to find, okay, who's because I think what they would need then is a taller receiver, is a bigger receiver from that aspect. So in the second round, I'm going to go Jaden Higgins at Iowa State. And just a solid, Green Bay had some success. I know he's not like an all-pro or anything like that, but, Alan Lazard did come from Iowa State too.
Right. And he's had a solid career.
Right. Yep. So my third round pick, number 87 overall, I think Green Bay finds their edge rusher, Savion Jones from UCLA. Had a good week at the Senior Bowl. We know Green Bay likes guys that perform well at the Bowl. He's a typical 4-3 defensive end, which just a guy that you can put his hand in the dirt. Yes, he did play a little standing up in a 2-point stance as well, but I think they need to go in there and try to come away with kind of your typical 4-3 defensive end guy. So I'm going to go with Jones from did I say UCLA? I meant LSU. So if I said UCLA, I apologize, but LSU. Round 4, 124. Shout out to Mike Renner, who we had on the show. He mentioned this guy. I think he actually has him going in. I'll have to double check that in his latest mock. But CJ West, defensive tackle from Indiana.
High level run stuffer.
Yes.
For D tackle.
Yep. And obviously Green Bay, when you look at defensive tackle, one of the guys they lost was TJ Slayton, who is their run stopping defensive lineman. So I think they need to find that. And you can find that. You don't necessarily have to invest a first round pick or a second round pick if you're just looking for
you
a
can
D
find
lineman.
those guys on day 3.
Yeah. Especially if he's going to just be a 2-down lineman, right? Or early down, obvious running situation. So CJ West, Indiana is my guy there. Number 5, I'm going with a little versatility with the offensive line, because when you got to draft a Packers offensive lineman, you got to have that versatility, guy who could play multiple positions. Jackson Slater, offensive lineman from Sacramento State. He's an interior offensive lineman, guard. Did play a little bit in the pinch and a tackle, a couple games at tackle, but mostly he's going to be an interior guard. Can even get some snaps at center. So I just like the name too, Jackson Slater, Sacramento State.
Sounds like he'd be a distant cousin of AC.
So, and then round 6, 198, another wide receiver, Elijah Badger from Florida.
Did you pick him because of the name?
Yeah, ironic, yes. But however, I was reading some stuff that a lot of people think he could be kind of a sneaky day 3, gem sort of thing. And Green Bay's has success finding those receivers day 3, like a Romeo Dobbs or something like that. It was like when Romeo was first drafted, there were so many people on social media like, that's a gem. Like they just, yes, Romeo's decent, but you don't know if he's a gem until he actually gets out there on the field and playing and such. So, but Elijah Badger, I'm going to go with Florida wide receiver. Round 7, 237. Another guy that was in our mock when you asked me about him, Brady Cook, quarterback.
You lied to me. You said you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't really say much there.
I did. I didn't want to give anything away. So,
you sly dog.
I did. And then my last pick, I almost picked him because he was there too, but I went with a different route. Trey Wittig, another Indiana Hoosier. And Oconomowoc, Wisconsin native.
Yeah.
So he's a Wisconsin native. He's a guy, again, he can play tackle and guard. He could play those spots on the offensive line. And again, we know that that's what Green Bay wants with their offensive linemen. It's those guys that could play multiple spots on the offensive line. So again, I didn't mock any trades or anything like that. I feel like there are going to be trades. I guess if I had to wager tonight, I don't think there will be. I don't know. I don't feel like there's going to be. I don't think Green Bay is going to trade out of the first round tonight. I don't see that happening. But I do see them making moves starting tomorrow and even Saturday, trying to accumulate some more picks. I would be shocked if Goody doesn't come away with more than 8 picks. I mean, he's said it how many times he wants more, but I would be shocked if he doesn't maybe come away with at least 10 with double-digit picks. And part of it, though, too, is like I do wonder, kind of going with this draft. How do I want to say this? How much are they going to? It's going to sound dumb, but bear with me. We know drafts are a lot for the future too. But I think something that still isn't talked enough about when it comes to Green Bay is their god-awful cap situation for next year. and they've got free agents that are big-time free agents next year. How much does tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday affect that? Like these decisions, these picks affect, like, I got to imagine they're thinking about next year because
You have to. I think you're always kind of looking a couple years into the future
Right.
as well.
because I don't think fans, some do, but I don't think a lot of fans really recognize just how bad the cap situation is for Green Bay next year. Yeah, they had cap space open this year, but it is bad next year. And yes, a lot of it will help after Jair moves on. I feel like even this year, if Kenny Clark does not have a good year, does not have a bounce back year, he's gone. And
Right.
that's going to open
And he's
up.
not too far into the extension he signed.
No, he just signed it last year, and he's still in his 20s,
Right.
which is kind of the crazy. He started when he was 20.
Hey, as I say, as a Vikings fan, it feels like he's been around forever because he's been in the Vikings backfield forever.
Yeah. So, that's just that to me. I'm curious for some of these picks, like whether it's a D tackle, whether it's someone else. Is it more geared towards, okay, we're in a really bad cap situation? That's why I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay drafts their offensive lineman tonight. I think it'll upset a lot of people.
Yeah,
but
because
it's
not sexy.
It's not.
But
they did it last year. But Zach Tom's a free agent. Rasheed Walker's a free agent. Sean Ryan's a free agent. That's 3 starters. I don't feel like Zach Tom's going anywhere. I think they'll sign him. I sure feel like, they're going to give Morgan a shot to win left tackle, it sounds like this year. And if Morgan wins it, Walker's gone. So then you're still going to want some depth at tackle. Then you got Deshaun Ryan. If he's a free agent, if he's a starter, if he plays well, are you going to re-sign him? That's a lot of money invested in your offensive line because they just signed one this offseason too.
Yeah, Aaron Banks.
So that's where the pick that I don't think a lot of fans would really like, but maybe kind of understand it for tonight would be like offensive line. So if you're yelling when they make that pick, it's an offensive lineman, just take a deep breath, step back, and be like, okay, that's more for next year, maybe. Yeah. Not to say he won't contribute this year, but it's going to be something that with next year in mind, because I don't know if they want to get into a position where they already got Elton Jenkins paying him a lot. Zach Tom's going to get a big deal. You got Banks under contract.
You can't go across the board paying like top dollar for your offensive line. That's just too much resource allocation to one spot, as important as it is.
Right. So that's the one position I would not be surprised if they decide to go tonight. But I don't know. I'm intrigued going back to what we were talking about in the first hour, because I do think, at least for Green Bay side, I could see them going multiple ways. Whereas maybe in years past, I'm like, okay, there's a couple, but corner wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Offensive lineman wouldn't surprise me.
Would receiver surprise you only because it's been 23 years?
I don't think it would surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. I think I'd be more like, oh, wow, they actually did. The joke's over now. Can we just stop saying that sort of thing? But that's where I wouldn't be shocked about anything tonight. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll finish up the second hour here. Who ordered this weather, by the way? It was beautiful here yesterday, and now it's just freezing. So, all right, quick break. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Interstate 94 exit 41, a short drive from anywhere. They're looking for folks to join their team, both on the front end, the sales end, and technicians in their service department, which, I can't say enough things about the service department. They're often booked over 2 weeks out, so there's work, and they're looking for driven, skilled individuals to come be part of the team. They have 18 service bays, heated floors, and an air-conditioned shop, so you're comfortable year-round. The people there are the absolute best, and they're not going to overwork you. They average about 1.5 days per technician, so it's efficient and productive. Plus, they're going to match your retirement fund, health, dental, and paid vacation and holidays. It's a great place to work. So everyone there is great at their job, which means more people want to come buy cars at Kai's or get their car serviced at Kai's, right? You can see why Kai's has been doing this and helping folks at such a high level for 3 generations. If you're interested in buying or getting in for an appointment, you can check their inventory or set your service appointment online at ChevyTownUSA.com. Be wise, be kind to the best buy.
When you're in the business of building the future, why rely on yesterday's internet technology? 100% fiber internet from TDS is engineered to handle industrial strength demand with turbocharged symmetrical speeds and 99.9% network reliability. Get internet that keeps your business light years ahead. Upgrade to cable-crushing TDS fiber internet. Strong enough for your business, strong enough for you. Learn more at tdsbusiness.com. Internet speeds are up to and not guaranteed. Subject to availability. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. You love to travel? Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you can fly. Plus, you get premium benefits and a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Here's comedian Howie Mitchell for hands-free Cozy Fit Skechers slippers. I'm holding a new Cozy Fit Skechers slip-in sneaker, and first of all, I barely know I'm holding it. It's that light. See, Cozy Fit is a cool new sneaker where the upper is made of a soft corporate material. It's kind of like a little puffer jacket for your feet, except it looks like a super stylish sneaker. Introducing the Cozy Fit Skechers slippers, the latest couple creations from Skechers. You can find Cozy Fit Skechers slippers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
I think it's time we have this talk. 30 minutes, that's all it takes. Well, at least update your website. With Web6, you can buy blocks of time and use them when and how you need. Let's say you own a restaurant. With just one block of time, Web6 can update a menu item or add a phone number. I'm glad we finally had this talk. Find out more at web6.com. That's web6 with an X.com. If you know of anyone who needs some help chasing their community passions, Backyard Trees wants to help. Email us at info@sportstalk1051.com so we can help.
To the top of the hour, and then we'll be at first round here in Green Bay, getting set for tonight. The countdown. I can't tell on the Jumbotron and Lambeau if they got a countdown going on or anything like that. But I'll be honest with you, Brandon. When we were here yesterday and walking around, and they're still working on stuff. I was like, they're kind of pushing it to the finish line here. It seems like. I mean, they're going to be doing a lot of different stuff in that, but I mean, they're still working and such. So if you hear a lot of stuff in the background, it's all the workers out there getting set for tonight and that. But again, if we sound a little robot-y, maybe it's because we're freezing a little bit too. It's
little column A,
colder.
little column A, little column B. So
it's gotten a lot colder here too. So
the sun was peeking out there for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and then it just went away again.
Yeah. How about this? If you want to hit me up with a tweet, or Brandon with a tweet, who you want your team to draft.
There you go.
How about that? So your Twitter handle, X handle.
It's just my name, but with an underscore in the middle. So Brandon _ Berg, BERG.
And then mine at DANKASPER. Who do you want Green Bay to draft tonight? Give me a player. Give me a player. Who do you want? Or whoever your favorite team is. So, did I ask you who you want? Is there somebody you would besides Derek Harmon? Is that the guy?
That might be the guy. I mean, Malachi Starks would be pretty high up there too. Yeah, just trying to think realistically.
Yeah.
Of the offense of the guards, because guard is possibly in play for the Vikings. I think I would prefer Gray Zabel to Tyler Booker just because of the athleticism.
Versatility a little bit too, maybe.
Because he could start out in competition at left guard, could take over for Ryan Kelly in a couple years at center. That's
Yep.
possible. But I'm pretty open-minded with it.
Yep. Oh, that's you. I was like, hey, somebody tweeted. Nope, it was Brandon
I don't
tweeting at
count.
me over there, so you don't count. So I think for me, I mean, I went with Hairston, but Derek Harmon would be a guy I'd be perfectly happy with. I will be honest. Of these receivers, I don't know if there is a guy that I'm like banging the table for.
Like head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah.
Like Market and Penn,
Like,
that's my guy.
Like, I don't have a problem with McMillan. I don't have a problem with Amek. I don't have a problem with Golden. But there isn't just like there's not that guy.
Well, no, they all have different strengths and weaknesses. It's not like you have that one top, like, Malik Neighbors last year guy,
Right.
where it's just like, okay, that guy just does it all.
Right. Yep. And it boggles my mind when you kind of go back a few years ago, Brandon, to think about it. How the heck Justin Jefferson lasted to the 20s?
I mean, I'm okay with it.
I know. But, you kind of think, because I think you go back at that time, too, it's like Justin Jefferson would be awesome in Green Bay. And yes, there's some receivers, McMillan, I'm sure with this style of offense, they would be great. But I don't know if there's just this one receiver that I'm like, this is the guy I want.
But he could see. I mean, then the thing that kind of hurt Jefferson is there was a little bit of paralysis by analysis because he played so much in the slot.
Yeah.
So people are like, is he only a slot receiver? Obviously, we know the answer, but still, like,
has that thing. So I'm glad you brought up slot receiver. Is that turning into? How do I want to say this? Because I feel like that's pigeonholing guys, but I feel like it's evolved where you're seeing a lot of slot guys still play on the outside, like where it's become such a lazy analysis for some because when Jaden Reed was drafted, a lot of people just assumed, oh, it's a slot based off the size. But if you watched him at Michigan State, he played a lot on the outside. And I feel like it's almost kind of like the nickel corner in a lot where it's like, oh, smaller corner, he's got to play on the inside and do that. But now you have offenses like, okay, we're going to put a 6'4" guy in the slot against your mismatches.
The power slot.
Right. So I feel like that's when you see these receivers, so many people like, oh, if he's 6 foot or fewer or smaller, he's a slot. Steve Smith was pretty good on the outside and being a deep threat too.
Yeah, you weren't bullying Steve Smith around.
Right. So I feel like that at times kind of is a lazy analysis.
I would agree.
And it's kind of the same, like, with the slot corner for the longest time, or the nickel corner, I felt like it was almost viewed in a negative sense, like, yeah, you're just a one-trick pony, you're just a slot corner. Now it's become so important where you got teams that are trying to maybe draft or sign and pay big bucks for slot corners or nickel corners. I'm trying to say nickel now because I feel like slot just pigeonholes them a little
plus,
bit.
Besides, like, these days, your nickel corner isn't, I don't view them as like a specialty player.
Right.
Because a lot of teams play nickel more than you're playing your quote unquote base 4-3 or 3-4. So they're on the field more than maybe a second D tackle or something, or a 2 down D tackle.
Right. Yeah. So, the whole Hobbs thing with Green Bay, it's like he excelled a lot playing in that nickel role with the Raiders. The Packers view him as a guy who can play on the outside. And I think if you could find that guy that could do both, that makes it more valuable. And that's where with these wide receivers too, it's kind of the same thing. And it's always bugged me about when people just assume Jane Reed's a slot guy. No, he could do more if you get that, and I don't know, but I don't need to go on that tangent or anything like that. So it's just going back to it full circle. I don't think there's that one receiver tonight. Maybe I'm in the minority that I'm just banging my I'll say one thing. The one thing that we've kind of said, what would make you upset or what would make you happy tonight? If Green Bay traded in the top 10 to get McMillan, I might be a little upset because that would require a lot to move up in the top 10.
To move up from the early 20s to 10, like, that might not even necessarily even this year too, but like that's like future capital.
Right.
Think about when the Packers traded with the Saints when they moved up for Marcus Davenport.
Yeah, they gave him a future first rounder. Right. That's why I thought it was an amazing trade by Green Bay. They moved back a few spots and got it.
Yeah, I agree.
And then they ended up moving up a few more, but they didn't give away a first round with Seattle to get Jair Alexander. But I do feel like the thing that I'll be curious about is the whole McMillan talk about he's been attached to Green Bay. I feel like if he does get past Dallas at 12, then there's maybe like if this is the guy that Goody is just banging the table, like this is the guy I want. This is the guy I want. Maybe they view it as okay, but we're not going to trade up at the top 10. But if he gets past Dallas, that's at 12. Because then if you look at the rest of the teams there, you're like, okay, maybe we could trade up within 13 to 17 because Dolphins aren't going to get him. They don't need a receiver. Colts, you got Pittman,
But I think
Pierce.
I think tight end maybe a little bit more than receiver.
Falcons, Drake London,
other needs.
Yep. Cardinals, they got Marvin Harrison Jr. last year. Would they maybe? Bengals, no. Seattle, yes.
Seahawks is where that conversation starts again.
And that's where I'm like, if this is the guy that Goody really wants, is McMillan, and he gets past Dallas, then I could see him trading maybe with the Bengals or the Cardinals, jumping in front of Seattle to get his guy. That I'd be okay with. I'm like, okay, because unless you're sacrificing a first rounder next year, then I'm not happy with that for McMillan. But I feel like if that's who they really want, they got to get in front of Seattle. He's got to get in front of Seattle to pick him up. So, but we'll see. We'll see where that kind of goes from there. So, would you rather? I don't know where I was going to go with that.
I don't know.
But
would you rather fight one duck-sized or horse-sized duck or 100?
Hey, you. I don't know. No, our buddy Nick's not listening right now because he's out scoping stuff. We were out and about last night. Shout out to whoever bowled at 298 at the bowling alley that we were at.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was, but we heard it from the crowd that somebody bowled a 298.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him for getting loud. I would have too if I bowled a 198.
Yep. So shout out to, I think it was I don't know who it was, but yeah, somebody bowled a 298. But it was a good time. Shout out to we went to brewery in downtown Shawano too. What was it called? Something Brothers. But it was a fantastic place over there.
It was.
Too.
That place.
It was an old theater converted into a brewery. And it was really
Stubborn Brothers.
Stubborn Brothers Brewery.
Good food.
Brandon had a boot.
I had das boot.
You had a bidet,
and I got hit with a bubble. and then the bartender, he brought a beer fest, so I'm like, I had to spin the boot. I mean,
bartender was an Eagles fan. She was a Philly one. So
yeah, but they had a great time there. Got a chance to chat with the owner a little bit.
Yep.
Cool.
So it was. All right. Shot clock's going to cut us off here in about 10 seconds. So we got one more hour coming up here. And then we'll wrap it up here for day one and probably walk around the warm up a little bit.
Might do some jumping jacks and cartwheels.
Exactly. All right. We'll be back after these news updates.
What we have, what we're all about, and do it Wisconsin style. The NFL has many scheduled events for this weekend. Parties, concerts, all of it is fans. It'll be wrapped up in the mix as well. If you're headed that way, just a reminder of something you probably don't need me to tell you, but parking is going to be real limited. They're expecting big crowds, and the NFL draft gets ready to kick off in Green Bay today. In headlines moving to our area, we go to the boards where one of the teenagers accused of shooting a BB gun and moving cars get the case settled. Dominic Pepperly was charged last year when he was 17 years old and had a total of 4 counts against him. As 2 people have reported their cars were hit by someone shooting at them, and one of the people did get cuts on their face as well. Yesterday, Pepperly was given a deferred agreement as part of a plea deal, and as long as he follows the agreement and doesn't commit any crimes, those charges would be dropped. Well, here in Lake County, a man is arrested after a firearm was pointed at law enforcement. This all happened Easter Sunday, a little before 9:30 in the morning, where police officers responded to the 4,000 block of 131st Street after the Chippewa County Center received a call from a person identified as 59-year-old Scott Braun from Lake County. He gave little information, quickly ended the phone call, and when officers came, Braun opened the door without saying anything and aimed a handgun directly at the officer. You can find full details online, including that release from Lake County Police at 715newsroom.com. Or were you kind of waiting for that whole student loan thing to go away? It's not. If loans are still a part of your life, the Department of Education is going to start collecting defaulted student loan debt soon. What does that mean for you?
The department announced collections will begin on May 5th, and borrowers could be referred to debt collectors or have money deducted from their paycheck. Student loan repayment requirements were paused in March 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Biden administration opted not to resume collections and attempted to forgive student loan debt in a program that was ultimately struck down by the Supreme Court. The Trump administration has indicated it would offer no such concessions to borrowers. I'm Mark Mayfield.
And you know, Kasper is at the draft. Pretty cool stuff. He's in Green Bay right now representing us. The early call is he might get stuck there. His ride abandoned him. So I'm going to pass the hat around, see if we can get him back here.
Collections will begin on May 5th.
I mean, I didn't say it was in a rush. For Sports Talk, 105.1. That's more than McCarthy.
We're waking up on this Thursday morning to partly cloudy skies across the area. While rain is appearing on radar this morning, a lot of it not making its way down to the ground thanks to relatively drier air in place. Still, a possible scattered shower cannot be ruled out this morning, but coverage will increase in the evening and into the overnight. Mostly cloudy skies will prevail, daytime highs at 58. I'm 13 First Alert meteorologist Sarah Lighthizer.
Your new go-to spot in the Chippewa Valley is the VFW Post 305, located on Star Avenue in Eau Claire. Whether you're looking for somewhere for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or a place to hang out with some great entertainment and events, you can't beat what the VFW Post 305 has to offer. A great food menu in bands on weekends. Plus, with spring here and summer around the corner, you cannot beat the view of their patio facing the river. So the next time you're thinking about where to have breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or just have a good time, the answer is simple. It's VFW Post 305 on Star Avenue in Eau Claire.
True Green. Get a golf course quality lawn for less than you think. Sign up at truegreen.com. That's TRUgreen.com. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the CPA Tour.
From the hardwood and the diamond to the gridiron and the court, Ted's got you covered with his trademark blend of sports passion and knowledge. He has the sports info you want and the sports therapy you need. So get your game face on, people. Go get the bell, huh? But don't shut up, sir. We got to get started from the show. Play big. Let's go. Welcome to the big league. Because it's the Dan Kasper Show.
Final hour kicking off right now from Green Bay here for the first round of the NFL draft. No, we're having a little bit of some cutting in and out. We don't need to. We're good. We're aware. We're definitely aware.
If you're
However,
if you're just joining us,
yes. However, if you go on to the video stream, where it looks like a lot of you have been on right there,
it's
we're crystal clear over there.
Hey, the sun's peeking out.
Oh, odds warm us up here a little bit. So, but no, we're just listening to it there. And Joe over there sending us messages on the video stream there too. So yeah, go check it. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. It's on all over the place. You can. It's crystal clear over there. But yeah, we're in the final 45 minutes of this morning. Oh, we got motorcycles running through the draft. Who is that? Who's got? Oh, those are police.
Yep.
Cruising on through here. So I had heard too. Blue Gold Wrestling is going to be working security over
Ooh.
here, so we'll have to try to find some of those guys
Yeah.
and say hi and such. But yeah, tweet at us. Yeah, see, Joe just chimed in. YouTube is awesome sounding right
Okay.
now. So
there you
go. Go
You've
to
got
YouTube.
Options. You've got options.
You could do that on your phone. You can look it up YouTube on your phone. You could do it on your desktop. You could do it on your computer. You could do it on your Roku TV too, right? Because you got the YouTube app on Roku.
You
Pull it
have
up there.
options. There's no excuse.
So
Not a good one anyway.
exactly. All right. So final call for any picks that your predictions, I should say, that you would like to send on in. Hit us up on Twitter or Facebook. You can hit me up on Facebook over there too if you want. What do you want your favorite team? Who do you want your favorite team to try to draft tonight? Is it a wide receiver? If you're Packers, you're like, you really want them to go after it and get a wide receiver. Is it a defensive tackle? Is it an edge rusher? Is it, that? Or what do you think, too? The other question we're throwing out there is, what do you think is potentially the biggest storyline heading into tonight? I just saw Schefter post a little bit ago that teams, were calling the Broncos to move up.
Maybe trying to leapfrog the Steelers?
Steelers, who draft 21, because of
that actually is your voice. that was not any technical difficulties. Dan's got a little frog in his throat.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah, that's one of the, especially when you get a tickle and you start coughing, you're by yourself. Been there many times, and that sucks. So I remember one time I woke up, not to get on a tangent. I remember one time I woke up. I don't talk when I don't, nobody's out, so I'm not talking to anybody. I get in the studio like 10 minutes before the show. I literally can't talk. I had no voice. Like I could. Thank God that was when Neil was still around and Neil Abear was coming in.
Oh, it doesn't take much to get Neil going. So
I'm like,
good.
He walked in, I'm like, Neil, and you could tell right away. I'm like, you're doing all the talking. Like I chimed in once in a while, but it was bad. People probably enjoyed it better anyways at that point too. So, who knows? So, but there's just kind of looking
We're starting
around.
to get more and more.
There's just random people walking by, and
I'm telling you this now for this last hour. If I see somebody walking by in like a jersey, especially if it's not like a non-local jersey, I'm just going to yell at them. Hey, who do you want your team to pick?
You should.
I'm going to be a carnival barker.
I like that.
If we get somebody walking by like a Falcons jersey, hey, who do you want the Falcons to pick?
Do that. We said I did see. Did I see? No, I think those are high school jerseys because you were looking at them too.
Yeah.
But no, send those on over. Again, probably Twitter is the best way because then we'll get notifications and such over there. But storyline wise, it is Shedeur, I think, tonight, right? I mean, that's kind of the storyline heading into it. Is he gonna? I love how. Okay, I'll just bring it up because it's been talked about. Look at that. Our numbers on YouTube just jumped up big time.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that. Then you don't even have to look at our face. You can look at Lambeau Field right there.
Yeah, that's a better view.
Or we can just walk around and do that. See ya. I got the new headset mic. Oh no!
Oh, you almost tripped on a cord. Oh wow!
Oh, no, that would have been really bad. Too many cords. So
there. Now we need Justice here to help us with the stand up here.
Yeah. But anyways, this is easier. See, I got the new headset microphone. It's a lot easier than holding it.
Look at you. You look like a NASCAR crew chief.
That was what I was going for. By the way, that bar last night was all NASCAR stuff.
I loved it. Plenty of Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt Jr. memorabilia on the wall. It was awesome.
But so Shedeur is probably the storyline, as much as it probably annoys a lot of people with that. But I don't know if I buy, because I did see last night there was some talk about him potentially falling out of the first round. I don't think I buy that.
I don't think so. I think once you get to that last 8-pick stretch, you're going to get someone that gets a little antsy and wants to jump up and trade up to get him.
Right. I don't know if he, to me, like, would it shock you if he goes top 5?
Yes. At this stage of the game, it would.
So I talked to Chad Ryder from NFL.com. Also, Chad Ryder is a UW Eau Claire alum, and he writes for NFL.com.
Yeah, I was saying.
But he thought there was no way that Shador would go past 10.
Okay.
He thought he would go inside the top 10. And I don't know if is this just one of these typical cases where there's a narrative out there and the stock's starting to fall? Because there was a write-up too. I think you were even talking a little bit about it, like the coach, the anonymous coach was like, what, worst interview that he's had or such, and
which, I mean, anonymous people, I mean, you can say whatever you want, but like it's out there.
Just the timing of it all, is that
smoke? Like,
is it a smoke screen? Is it done on purpose to try to make the guy fall? I mean, is it just to grab narratives?
One of these years, one of the things I want to do, like 2 weeks in is like just make a list of all like the stuff like that I see, and then like see how it correlates on draft night.
Right.
Like to see like smokescreen watch essentially.
Right.
Yeah,
I feel like I don't know. Because he was regarded, it's interesting to me, Brandon, how when we get to the draft and we start the draft process, because he was viewed as a top 5 pick. So did that much change to where you're talking back end first round with some of these guys, where, okay, they got to know him a little bit more based off of interviews and such. And the thing to me that's intriguing is that, remember during the season too, the Giants spent a lot of time at Colorado. Brian Daboll and everybody were going over there, and everybody just assumed it was for Shador and getting a quarterback. But sure doesn't seem like that's going to be the case anymore.
Yeah.
And the Giants are in a weird position where, you know, their coach and general manager is sitting duck.
They're playing for their lives this year.
Right. And I don't know if they'd be willing to go quarterback.
I had heard it described as this: drafting Shador Sanders for the Giants at pick 3 is the equivalent of having a baby to save the marriage.
Okay. Where did you hear that from?
I wish I could remember. But it makes that, like, if you feel like you need to do that to save the marriage, then the marriage might just be done.
Right.
Like you can't do that. Like
and honestly, that won't do anything positive for Shador.
No, it's not. It's not good for either. It's not good for the coach. It's not good for the GM. It's not good for Shador Sanders either.
Right.
Because then you could be in a spot like the last couple Bears quarterbacks have been in, where a regime is making a last ditch effort to try to save their job. They still get fired. Then the new coach comes in with no connection to this the quarterback. Right. It's not good for everybody.
Right. Because then you know what's going to happen. You're going to be talked about potential trades and moving on and all that sort of stuff, you know, already. So I feel like he's going to get picked. I don't think anybody's going to trade in front. I don't know. I feel like it's still going to be Seattle or Pittsburgh tonight.
You think that's the floor? Like he doesn't get by there?
If he gets by Pittsburgh.
I think as Vikings and Packers fans, we had to cheer for Shador to drop because that's just another possible option.
That's true. Because then you get antsy people maybe coming up. Cleveland. Okay, so Cleveland drafts Travis Hunter. Then they try to trade up and get Shador.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kevin, but you're on the clock. Kevin Stefanski's on the clock because the Dion watch will start now.
Right, because he's won Coach of the Year. Like, I think Kevin Stefanski's a good coach. I just think that's a really tough situation.
Right. If you're Kevin Stefanski, do you want that to happen tonight? Do you want to draft Travis Hunter and then trade up for Shador?
Man, that's tough.
I don't think I want that. I don't think I want that to happen.
You're right. I think you can kind of see the picture developing, and that picture might not have you in it.
Right. So I think if you're Stefanski, you're not going to say it out loud, but you're probably in my mind or in your mind saying, I don't want that to happen. Because you know that's going to be talked. Like the biggest chaotic thing I want to see tonight is that 12 Dallas drafting Shador. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, but
it won't. And I have family and friends who are Cowboys fans, and I don't dislike the Cowboys like a lot of people do, but I feel like amongst my family and friends who are Cowboys fans, that would not be popular.
Right.
But it's not something you can completely discount because of Jerry Jones.
Right. And again, if it does happen, which it won't, two things. Dak's on his way out.
But man,
Whoever would take
that's
that.
a tough contract to
That
move
is.
on from.
And then the Dion clock starts.
Yes. Oh,
100%. 100% it starts. So that's like, if there was a pick that you want to see happen tonight, doesn't have to be your team. Would that be the one, just to see organized chaos?
Just to watch the road burn.
Yep. That might be it for me.
Cheer for chaos?
Yep.
It's like the NCAA tournament. If your bracket shot, you cheer for chaos.
Yeah. That might be it for me.
It
would be annoying. It would be annoying because this is what we'd all hear during a season.
Oh yeah.
We already hear it when it comes to the Cowboys. Is Cowboys talk, Cowboys
But
talk,
this would
Cowboys
just
love.
ratchet it up even more.
Yeah. Now you're gonna, and if you're Dak and that happens, you'd want out of there.
Right.
Because what's going to happen is, like, you have a bad game, which it happens a lot for him.
Yeah,
but with that,
just in general,
with that money,
but yeah, right.
it's going to be, when does Shedeur come in? Right. You draft Shedeur at 12. Dak's out. Brian Schottenheimer's got, I got 1 year. Might as well make it, go out.
Was that? And then you go full blown conspiracy theory. Like, was Brian Schottenheimer hired just in case this situation? We can. Let's put it this way: we can talk about that tomorrow morning if it happens.
Yeah, that's true. That's
true. And if that's the case, and we see Cowboys fans walking by, I will definitely be sure to ask their opinion.
I'd be curious to hear from Cowboys fans. Like, let's just say if your team drafts Shedeur tonight, what would their reaction be? And are Cowboys fans all on board with Dak Prescott? Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, it would be good to try to know.
I mean, a good friend of mine is a Cowboys fan, so I could technically do that, but that's going to be interesting to watch. So, tell you what, let's take a quick break. Maybe try to warm up a little bit, Brandon, here. So we'll do that, and we'll be back with more from Green Bay coming up after these quick words. Yeah.
My friend Adam was Cowboys fans listening. He says Cowboys love.
All right, jump jacks, boys. Let's go. 100. Get some blood flowing.
Adam says he goes. After that, the follow-up was.
Hey, sports fans, Joe DeGuano here. Sometimes you just want to go to that place where everybody knows your name. Courthouse in downtown Eau Claire is that place for me. When I'm not talking sports with Dan in the morning, you can probably find me at a bar stool, Courthouse. Aside from the rotating specials that always hit the spot, my favorite thing about Courthouse is the service. Whether it's Hannah or Jake or whoever, every time I'm there, no matter who is bartending, they know exactly what I want even before I do. Whether it's my vodka gimlets made with love or hams in a frosted mug, it's always exactly what I need after a long day. So if you're looking for that place where everyone truly does know your name, make Courthouse your go-to spot. They've got what you need. Cold beers, the best fish fry in town, service to make you feel at home. Oh, and my personal favorite, the Old A Burger. And hey, Next time you're at Courthouse, if you happen to spot me, once again, your first one's on me. Courthouse, downtown Eau Claire, Grand Avenue.
You've heard us tell you about some zillion of events at around715.com.
But oh no, that's not all my friends. Learn about fascinating places that stay to face.
Desserts that are sweet, good showers to eat.
Around the 715.com is the place to find.
One or two things that could blow your mind.
It's things to do and things to help you thrive.
It's a lot of stuff for you here at the 715. Around the 715.com.
Broadcasting live from the TBS Sports Talk 105.1 studio. It's the Dan Kasper Show.
First 5, but done with that first hour.
Are you going back over here then?
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, I just look like I'm a reporter in the field.
All right, we're back in Green Bay here as we start to, well, we're less than an hour away. Go over there. Brayden finally got to ask a couple fans.
I did. We finally saw some fans that were in Packers jerseys. So we had a Saints fan, a Titans fan, and a Bears fan.
All right, so the Saints fan wanted what?
The Saints fan wanted Jackson Dart.
Okay. Interesting for the 9th overall pick, too. Okay. Jackson Dart over Shadura, maybe? Titans fan. Was that, what jersey was he wearing?
It was an Earl Campbell jersey. So, but he said Cam Warren, which, I mean,
Yeah.
and then the Bears fan wanted Ashton Genty.
Okay. All right. So there you go. Jackson Dart was a. Where's your bingo cards? You should have gotten those out. You probably got them, didn't you?
I did. We got Tamara yet.
Oh man. So I think okay. That's 4 teams we've seen so far. Not counting that.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple yesterday. All right. So that's interesting. For number 9 overall. Oh man. Yeah, my mic.
So Dan's not plugged in. So
We're over here. Jeez,
there we go. Yeah,
Louise.
Dan. I wasn't hearing you in my
Amateur hour.
my bunny ears here, but
Okay. So Jackson Dart was the Saints fans' pick.
Cam Ward
Cam
was
Ward,
the Titans
way
fans
to
pick.
think off.
Yeah.
Oh, the beaten path on that one.
I think it took him a few seconds to figure like why is this guy in this yard yelling at us? It was 3 younger guys too.
Yeah.
And then the Bears fan was the first one to answer. He goes, he just Genty.
Yep. So
He wasted no time.
all right. So what do we got? What do we got over here? I got a couple tweets here coming at me. So let me just load it up here. For Packers, okay, just says a couple of them say just wide receiver. So I guess, all right, Packers fans still want wide receivers coming up in the first round. Again, I don't know if there's that guy that I would be, if you move up a couple spots for him, sure. I honestly think that's the only way Green Bay moves up today is if it's for a couple spots. Kind of like what they did with Jordan Love. Even when they did with Jair, they moved back and then they moved up a little bit with Seattle and such. I don't see them moving in the top 10 for any. Is there anybody in the top 10 that's worth moving up from Green Bay spot at 24? Is there anybody worth moving up in the top 10 for? I don't think there is. It's not, they don't need Ashton.
Yeah, like
Genty,
the back half of the top 10. Not like a Travis Hunter, but like the
the
guys that would be available like 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, exactly. Like 7, 8, 9, somewhere around. I don't think there's a guy that, Travis Hunter would be there. But and again, you would have to put in another first round pick for next year to make that happen.
I'm just always leery about trading future capital.
Right. So, man, we got more Packers fans kind of coming through here too.
Yeah, we do.
So, but is there anybody for you that you'd like your Viking? You don't have any draft capital to trade.
I really don't want them to dip into 2026.
Would it be Ashton though for you to pair up and have your running back of the future?
It would be fun, but I no.
No.
Maybe if like Mason Graham fell, I could make a case for that. But otherwise, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's there for him. So
Mhm. Exactly. So, yeah, it's starting to pick up in foot traffic a little bit. Starting to pick up a little bit. I don't know where our other crew's at. They're walking around here too, so they got to help pack up here when they get, if they're walking around.
And get the grill going.
Yeah, or something. So, but trucks are still filling in and such. If you're just joining us, hopefully you're joining us on YouTube because it sounds like the audio is clear over there. It's just a lot of stuff is going on right now in Green Bay and that. But so my mock I had in the first round, Maxwell Hairston, corner from Kentucky, and he is here tonight in Green Bay. He is one of the 15. I think is it 15 or 17, somewhere around
I
there.
forget.
Between 15 and 17 individuals who are here for the draft stage and that. But kind of to expound on that one, why I went with him is speed. Because I think you look at the cornerback depth for Green Bay. You got Carrington Valentine. You've got Keyshawn Nixon. You've got, Hobbs in here too. That's your top three corners. And I think, assuming – I'm not counting Jair. I know some people are assuming that he could still maybe be on this team next year. We don't have to read between the lines too much to hear from Goody and that it ain't happening. So you lose Jair, you need a little speed on the outside, and Harrison gives you that with that sub 4.340. Gives you that speed on the outside. The concern is the weight. Apparently, he's already buffed up to like a $190. That's what he said on social media. So if that is true, if that is the case, that he is buffed up to that alleviates that quite a bit. So you get that speed because you look at, especially in this division, Brandon. I mean, JJ, your guy, Justin Jefferson. I'd want a speedy guy to tangle with him. Even Addison for the most part.
Right.
St. Brown, Williams over in Detroit. Williams, especially Jameson Williams, the speed guy there. Then you look at, Chicago, you got Roma Dunze, a little bit of a bigger receiver, and that's DJ Moore and such. But I just feel like they need some speed with that cornerback department. And that's where I keep going back to Harrison. Now, Harrison, I've seen actually mocked a couple times to Green Bay. I've seen him maybe going a little bit later on in the first or the back end. It's just when we get in the 20s with these things, don't pay so much attention to like where they're position ranked, because this is why like Luther, the wide receiver from Missouri, who I really like.
I do too.
He's at that range where I guess it wouldn't surprise me so much. It'd be a little too high for me, but it wouldn't surprise me too much if a team like drafted him at 23, 24, 25, 26,
right?
Because he won't be available at 50.
Right.
And so you see these teams in the back in the first round maybe kind of reach a little bit because they're not going to get those guys.
And it would be a lot of fun. It would never happen, but it would be a lot of fun to just see some of the rankings that different teams have on the same position, because you could have a board where Luther Burden's ranked 3rd. You could have one where he's ranked 10th.
Right. Yeah. Well, who was the draft one who was the team that their board accidentally got leaked last year? You remember that?
Seems like it happens with the Cowboys.
Was it the Cowboys? I can't remember, but somebody like put it on Instagram or something like that, and it got leaked. But no, and that's where, when, especially with these teams at the back end, don't pay too much attention, because you know what's going to happen. It happened when it's happened every year, every couple of years. They drafted a 2nd round guy in the 1st round. Well,
they didn't think he was a 2nd round guy.
They didn't think they were, but at the same time, that guy wasn't going to be available, and they probably didn't find a trade partner or anything like that too.
So it's either, we take him here and we have him, or we're just not going to get him.
I think there was a lot of people talked about that with Eric Stokes, and I know now Eric Stokes, but I factor that injury quite a bit to how that derailed his career. So, but I'm curious to see, some of this. We've been talking about storylines for this draft tonight. Obviously, Shedeur is one. He's not going to Dallas, although I want it to happen.
I know someone that doesn't. Adam, if you're still listening after you joined in for that, I
want it to happen, but it's not. But one can dream. Would his dad live? No, I'm just never mind. I'm not going to go down there anymore. Then I think the other storylines are going to be, okay, so we heard that Saints fan say Jackson Dart. Is he the next quarterback taken, and how high is he taken?
Yeah.
Is it top 10? Is it top 20? Or how many teams try to jump into that back end of that 1st round, trade with a Philly or a Kansas City, or a Detroit
or Buffalo or
or
whoever,
Buffalo,
all those teams.
Do they trade with one of those teams to try to get that quarterback? Because again, that 5th-year option is a big deal when it comes to quarterbacks. May not be that big of a deal for other positions. Is a huge deal for quarterbacks.
As much as quarterbacks are paid, if you get another year and that player works out, and you get another year to kind of stretch that extension.
There's
that's
3
a big darn
examples.
Deal.
One of them was your team, Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That.
Lamar Jackson was the other one. What is it? Baltimore traded back into the first round and got him. And Jordan Love to an extent.
Yeah.
They moved up to get Jordan Love, and I agree with what Matt LaFleur actually said on DP's show, Dan Patrick's yesterday. He talked about, I think, the narrative or the scope where Green Bay traded up to get him is what a lot of people focused on. And LaFleur kind of said, if we would have stayed where we were and drafted him, if he was available, it's maybe not as big of a deal. And I agree with him.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with him with that. But at the same time, it was also, you look at Love and you have that 5th-year option as that extra bonus year, that buffer where you can be patient with him. And this is where I disagree with Dan Orlovsky, where he said a couple days ago, because I think it was Jackson Dart was mocked to the Rams. And Orlovsky said championship teams or championship window teams don't draft a quarterback in the first round. And I'm like, I get the sense of what he was saying. Like, I understand maybe what he was saying a little bit, but at the same time, there's too many examples of that working out. Like, yeah, Green Bay, for instance, when they drafted Jordan, they went to the NFC Championship game that year.
Right.
So I understand where he was saying, like, okay, if you got a championship team,
like you're focused on that, getting someone that helps you that year, not
Right.
necessarily 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road.
But at the same time, though, too, you could turn into a championship team by drafting that quarterback. Look at Jane Daniels last year with Washington.
Yeah.
How instantly quickly that thing changed for them. So, but I'm just morning. But I'm just kind of curious to see how many teams kind of trade up and go after to try to get a quarterback.
Right.
And do you think it is Jackson Dart? Is he that third one?
I think so. Jalen Milroe is interesting to me, but as like a second or a third rounder. Like, generally, I'm not super high. Like, I feel like either you take a quarterback in the first round or maybe like at the end. Like, second to third round, the hits over the years in like the second to third round for quarterbacks aren't great. But Milroe to me is interesting because he does have something he does really, really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
He can run. He's a great runner. He is definitely the type of guy where if you take him second or third round, he's sitting a couple years and you're developing him. That's the one I think I could get behind with that, just because he does have that one trait that is just elite.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just trying to kind of work with him to build up the other stuff.
Here you go. You can ask some Patriots fans what they want to draft.
I absolutely will.
All right. I'm going to check this quick.
All right, the Patriots fans, they want Will Campbell, or I think it said Carter if he would happen to be there.
Okay, Abdul Carter.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. But yeah, they said Will Campbell. Yeah, if he's there. So
all right.
Abdul
So
Carter.
neither one of them said Ashton Genty.
No.
All right.
They don't believe that. They don't believe the rumors.
All right. I can get on board with that.
All right.
So got a little guy with the Drake May. Is that a
There
Teddy
you go.
Bruschi jersey
Yes,
over there too?
that is a Teddy Bruschi jersey.
Should have
Nice.
asked them if they were from Boston. Should have asked them if they were from there. So I don't know. Filtering in more. I was trying to figure out who that one guy was, if he was a draft prospect. Kind of looks familiar.
He looked like somebody. Like, he looked like he was somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know who he was, but like there was two people that were walking by us here, and it was there were two people that definitely looked like they were somebody. I don't know who, but
I just love the
they just
phrasing of
looked like
that.
they were somebody.
Yep. So, all right. Tell you what, let's take our final break here. It's a little bit earlier and such, but going to start to wrap up.
Give us more time to hopefully carnival bark with some people to see who they want their team to draft.
Right. Exactly. So, all right, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back after these quick words.
In like the last 10 minutes, I'll start asking back because that's.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show. When you're in the business of building the future, why rely on yesterday's internet technology? 100% fiber internet from TDS is engineered to handle industrial strength demand with turbocharged symmetrical speeds and 99.9% network reliability. Get internet that keeps your business light years ahead. Upgrade to cable-crushing TDS fiber internet. Strong enough for your business, strong enough for you. Learn more at tdsbusiness.com. Internet speeds are up to and not guaranteed. Subject to availability. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Have you tried hands-free Skechers Slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoehorn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold. I'm looking to design engagement that's different. Like, I wanted to feel inspired by nature.
Inside the pants where only those people. Maybe it's an idea or a scribble on a napkin.
A little version on the back, maybe mine is still boosted. The first step is just something center, like a small.
You know why you want this custom design. Thursday and Friday, May 8th and 9th in Eau Claire, Blasters and our visiting designers and residents will show you how to see your dream real.
My boyfriend and I are both outdoor people, and we met on a hiking trip. So I
Our
wanted to
favorite New York artists will visit with you. A reminder of our first date, by the way. Hear your ideas.
a small brain when we first started dating.
And that gives you a hearty Blasters yes. You'll receive a hand-drawn artist rendering as well as a $200 credit toward your
Oh, wow.
Yes. These limited appointments will fill up quickly. Schedule your free, no-obligation consultation now at Blasters.com.
Oh, that's exactly what I wanted.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams 4-day super sale and get 40% off paints and stains. April 25th through the 28th, with prices starting at $29.39. It's the your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with full hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Service Master of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
Stop by next Gen Power Sports in Fond du Lac during the Can-Am Upshift Spring Sale for limited time deals of 0% for 60 months or up to $3,000 rebate. Conditions apply. Visit dealer for details. Because you have high standards and won't settle for anything less, like your wife did. It's the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, we're back here from Green Bay as we start to kind of wrap things up here in the last 20 minutes or so. Again, so thank you to all of you bearing with us with some audio issues here a little bit, but it sounds like the YouTube and Facebook feed is working a lot better than the over-the-air dials. So if you want, you can check us out over there. We're going to work on something for tomorrow and maybe find a better reception, get a booster over here. There's just a lot of stuff going on right now, and it's taking up a lot of the bandwidth over here because, well, we set up right next to the draft stage and right next to Lambeau Field. So there's a lot of stuff going on. right now, and I think it's taking up a lot of the bandwidth
I think you're right.
over there. So,
But
we'll-
you can still, people can still hear us, and that's the big thing.
yeah. So big thanks to everybody who has moved over to YouTube and Facebook joining. I would love to get that thing rolling and get like our own chat room going.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you can chat with other people that are listening. We
No.
drop in there who you want your team to take, and
Exactly. I mean that, and you can hit up. We got Goodio that's over there. We got Joe who has been a diehard over there. So a big thanks
appreciate
to Joe
you guys. Yeah.
over there. And Joe, if you're still listening to us on there, maybe we'll make you if you could get the moderator for our new chat room. That will maybe this is what will develop into our. See how things maybe kind of work out, Brandon.
Yeah.
Maybe this is what we'll
You never know.
get that up there, and we can have Joe be the moderator. Joe can throw out questions to people to answer on there.
There we go.
All that stuff. But big thanks to AJM Automotive Services, Home Oasis, SCS Swiderski for our draft partners over there too. But a reminder, I mean, we got a Philly fan.
Hey, Philly fan, who do you want your team to draft? Be a good one. Thank you. There we go. We just had our first Philly fan here. He said Walter Nolan.
Okay. That's
Which
a solid
again,
pick. Yep.
going to our rule of
They always find one.
with the Eagles and the Ravens, they always end up with really
Yep.
good guys that fell. So that
Yep.
that would not surprise me.
But going back to what I was going to say with our YouTube feed, reminder, you can watch that on. Oh, you got some Cardinals fans now.
Cardinals fans, who do you want your team to draft? Have a good one.
Who they were? Okay. Yeah, there you go. So, but again, what I was trying to say, let's try this again. On the YouTube feed, you could go to our TV station or on your TV, not our TV station. You could go to your smart TV,
say, we
your
got a
Roku
TV
TV.
station.
I wish we had a TV station.
Oh,
but
we kind of do. It's just,
yeah. YouTube is a TV station, but you can go on your Roku and download the YouTube app and just watch it up there and stream it up there. You can listen to it on your phone. You can listen to it on your tablet. You can listen to it on your computer, all that stuff. So, but again, we'll try to get this figured out. Try to find
bigger and better tomorrow.
Yeah, go over there. So big thanks for being patient with us. And we're kind of like maybe like the NFL right now, figuring out how to do a draft in Green Bay. And just looking at everything, I'm really curious to see how it's going to shape up with parking and that. But
hey, Packers fan, who do you want to draft tonight? Who do you want to draft? Matthew Golden. All right.
All right.
We got a Matthew Golden pick
Wide
for
receiver.
the Packers tonight. So
Texas,
yes.
wide receiver. So
we've gotten to the point. Yeah, I'm gonna
just randomly yell, and apparently one of our guys who was walking around saw Kirk Herbstreit walking his dog.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I bet you're pretty jealous about that one.
Packer fans, who do you want to draft tonight? There you go, wide out there.
Wide out. All right. So we got another wide out over there. Oh, see, I did unplug something, Brandon.
You were unplugging stuff.
I almost cut off the video stream here because the battery was dying there.
You were talking up, killed it.
Yep, exactly. So, all right. So the popular pick so far amongst Packers fans is wide out.
That's what it seems.
So far, just a wide out.
Early
wide out in
return.
general. All right. How far can these scores go? You could go a little. Oh no, you can't. I gave you the shorter one. So
you would.
But all right. Well, you might as well ask our Chiefs fan here, Illini Greg.
All right, yeah. Well, who do you want at the end of the first round, Illini Greg?
Offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Who does Nick want?
Nursery from yeah. So if we get a O-line pick for the Chiefs, that would makes a ton of sense.
Defensive interior
lineman
defensive
Packers.
lineman. All right, for the Packers.
Real
all right.
possibility.
All right. So we got a couple for the wideouts, got a couple for the D line. If anybody's listening, you can comment on the YouTube or Facebook stream or hit us up on Twitter/X. What do you want your favorite team? Who do you want your favorite team to draft? Let us know. We're just looking for more people. We're waiting to see if Kirk Herbstreit's going to walk his dog down this way. Apparently, our two buddies saw Kirk Herbstreit walking his dog. So, that'd be, which one is that now? Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay, I can't remember. Who was the one that passed away? Do you remember? I can't remember either. But I'm really hoping Mel Kiper just happens to walk down here and, take in the scenery. Or where's Matt Leinart? Is Matt Leinart doing his podcast
I don't
yet?
know. I can't see. My cord doesn't stretch long enough for me to see, Dan. This is what you get for giving me the short cord.
The short cord. So, all right, we got a couple
Read them
messages
off
over
over
here. We got Joe saying wide receiver or tackle. Joe's got wide receiver or tackle. So, Joe, our new moderator of everything on YouTube channel, because Joe's like the only dedicated one on there, so we might have to make him our main YouTube moderator. We might have to give Joe a nickname to go on there, and we got to come up with a nickname for the YouTube station too.
We do.
So, but
I'm gonna call him friend of the show because a friend of mine, Ryan, Packer fan, says he wants a corner or a wide receiver. So,
okay, what does your Cowboy fan want?
He's
dissing the Shedeur Sanders dream of mine going to Dallas. So who does he want?
I think he was in on some of the receivers. Yeah, he was in. Yeah, he was in. Adam was in on some of the receivers. So,
all right,
or offensive line or corner. He's at either one, any of those. He'd be
okay. So everybody wants the same offensive line or corners.
It's a really good offensive. It's a really good offensive line draft.
It is. It is. Got some versatility with some of the guys that can kick outside and inside. So we'll see how that plays out. I really wish the sun would stay out.
I know.
I really wish that would happen, but
just teasing us at this point.
Oh, those must be a lot of workers going in there. Okay.
I'll bet you at 9:01 that sun will come out and be very, very bright.
It's not the coolness; it's the gosh darn.
It's the wind.
Wind.
It actually is.
Yeah.
We got a wind blowing at the stadium. I guess I don't know what direction that is. I'm not.
Look at the flag.
No, I mean which direction? Like.
Oh, you don't know your
north,
cardinal
west?
directions?
No, I don't.
Okay. Greg, which way is that way? There you go.
There you go, Greg.
See?
Okay, all right. Oh yeah. I was looking for a tree to find some moss because that grows on the north side. So.
Oh, that was awesome.
There's somebody walking their dog.
Yeah, I don't think they probably don't care what team's drafting what though, Brandon. So that's all right. Joe says he'll be on all morning tomorrow. So hang out with Joe on the
There we go.
YouTube
Yeah, bright
page.
and early. That's the place to be. You're gonna get the best audio quality there.
Yep. And then you get to see maybe some people walking by too. And
Yeah.
Brandon
So
just randomly yelling at people.
Which I've been told is a big hit. Someone reached out to me, let me know they thought it was hilarious. So.
That you're just yelling? Okay, you got a couple more here. They're on bikes.
Well, but
Come on. Come on.
I'm not just gonna start yelling at random people on bikes.
Why not? Ask who they want to draft. They probably huge check-in. Hey.
I don't have to take this from someone that doesn't know how a door opens.
So, come on now. It was tough. The wind must have jammed it in.
I think it did.
The wind jammed it in, but no. All right. Are we going to ask? No, you're not going to do this one, are you?
I am not.
Okay. I got a couple tweets here. How about that?
All right, yeah, there you go.
We'll do a couple tweets here. Got defensive tackle, got a wide receiver, and then I got a corner pick too. So those are kind of where everything's at. But
Nobody throwing on a punter?
no,
No BJ Sanders out there?
Gone are the days of the Raiders drafting nonsense in the first round.
Well, here's the thing, though. You say that, but I bet you Sebastian Janikowski gave the Raiders a lot more value than a lot of those first-round picks.
Yeah. So here's an interesting nugget. This was from Peter Schrager overnight. Midnight evening before the draft. I've gotten 7 different people I trust telling me 7 different teams they think Ted McMillan could go to.
Awesome.
As everyone's locked into the quarterbacks, where McMillan ends up going is downright fascinating. Top 5, top 10, top 20, top 25.
Ooh.
So we've been talking about Shedeur Sanders in his range. Maybe it's McMillan in his range. To which Lance Zierlein said, who is also at NFL.com, I've never experienced the draft that has so many of the same players locked into the first 30 picks. but so many widely different opinions
On
about
who's
where they
the puzzle pieces. They just don't know how they fit.
right exactly. So interesting. And I think that's the thing when we were kind of opening it up, talking about the draft a little bit, was it may not be the deepest one in terms of talent wise, like top tier talent,
there's not like
but
the stars, but there's a lot of, I think that people think there's a lot of good, really solid, good players that can come in and make a difference right away.
Right. So that, because you're right. I mean, the McMillan one is so interesting that he could go anywhere. Because I did see one mock where he is going to the Patriots at 4. Saints at 9, I had him. Could he fall down to 23? Yeah.
I'm going to say this. If he's at 24, I am thinking about it.
So you'd pair him up with, you already got 2 receivers, but you'd get your big receiver.
But here's the thing, too. Like, and my thing with that is just, if you do something that helps J.J. McCarthy, I'm in favor of it.
Yeah.
If that's a guard, if that's a receiver, I get it.
Right.
Because that ultimately, what's going to drive your success is how good is J.J. McCarthy for you.
Mm-hmm. Right. No. So that's going to be that, and that is going to be such an interesting thing for him too, to see this, because if he truly is on anybody's board, I mean, obviously if he's not drafted in the top 10, then probably nobody had him in the top 10, right? So if he's, I mean, whoever drafts him, I guess wherever, that's probably the highest that teams had him at. So we'll see. But it's interesting because you have multiple players, like Lance just tweeted out a little bit ago, to have like a lot of the same players, but widely different in terms of rankings on this thing. So it'll be interesting to kind of follow. And that's, so for tonight, well, with the poor reception out here, it might be easy to stay away from. Twitter and not get picks tipped.
It's true, yeah, no, and
yeah.
I wasn't planning on anyway. Like
I wasn't either.
No, and this is going to be the easiest way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So no, that's good. I'm looking forward to that. Like,
and I think we're going to be pretty darn close to the draft stage.
Well,
we'll put it up on.
We'll show you when the time is right. Don't want to jinx anything. But
right. I think we're going to
feel good.
We're going to have a good view. So we're going to have a good view. I'm confident in that. But we got a Bears fan running around with the tee, but he's got the
he's got the earbuds in. He's out for a jog. So
yeah. So didn't wave. I waved. He didn't wave at me. Bears fans, come on. What are we doing here? Final thoughts. Got Tobias Myers Day. Somebody tweeted at me and said, Happy Tobias Myers Day to those who celebrate.
Tobias Myers Day.
We've got, I guess we could talk about it.
Rotation starting to get healthy again.
Yep. I guess we could talk about it tomorrow if we even wanted to, but we'll have plenty to talk about. Buck season's on the line tomorrow night.
When yes, it's absolutely a must win. Like, I don't know if he's going to do it. I need to see something they need to shake something up in the starting lineup.
Yeah. Yep.
Kyle Kuzma's not doing it for me.
He a few times just started driving to the lane. And it's like, where has that been? Like, I want to see game 3 coming out. But the thing is, even if you go up 12, 15 in the first, the Pacers are a team that means nothing because they shoot the 3 so much. And they play such fast-paced basketball and transition. Like, no lead is safe with that.
No.
There's nothing that's safe with, and yeah, the season's on the line for the Bucks. And if they lose this game, they're done. And it's not till tomorrow, but if they lose, they're done. And I think if you're the ownership group, you got to make some desperate changes just to appease. I think you have to appease Giannis. I'll say this: I'm starting to get nervous about Giannis in the future of the Bucks.
Yeah,
I'm getting to that point where I'm getting nervous about that.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll be next year.
No, but it could be after the year after that.
Yep, I'm really getting nervous with that.
You need to get back to winning a series, like at least a series. Like, you need to make it to the semis.
Right, and this year has been incredibly, I know there was injuries and such, but it's just been incredibly frustrating because you're like, okay, last year coaching changed, and you had the injuries in the postseason. And yes, Dame missed game 1 and such, but there's not a lot of other excuses you can use. And you look at how slow the season started for this team too, and it was frustrating. It was incredibly frustrating. And then it's like, okay, they turned around, got back, and then now it's just like, I think one thing is they got to figure out how to get younger in some spots and
get more athletic.
Yes. which is saying something when you have Giannis, but,
right, but
it's
like
the other
I
guys.
love Brook Lopez. I'm so grateful for what he's done for the team, but like he gets targeted out there just because he's
Yep.
an older, he's a large older player. Like teams are attacking him.
Yep.
Like
And the thing is, credit to the Pacers, but they're matching the physicality. They're playing more physical than the Bucks, and they're just gaining that confidence.
oh yeah,
a whole lot more.
100% unquestionably been the better team here so far.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt.
They're not intimidated by
Nope.
any means. They're trash talking and backing it up.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Tobias Myers on the mound this afternoon. Be curious to see if they got like a pitch count on him coming back from
Probably,
that oblique.
I would think like maybe like 75, 80ish. Like,
Yeah. But hopefully off to
5 solid innings would be a good first step.
Yep. All right. Final thoughts for tonight's first round.
Let's make a bold prediction for me.
Bold prediction for tonight's, and you could tell me if this is bold or not. I am gonna go with. Now, I don't necessarily have to believe it's gonna happen,
just
right?
but like give me just
Cleveland trades back and gets Shador
so
with Travis Hunter.
They double up. They go
double up.
Okay, all right.
They're the Colorado Browns
Okay, it's a good one.
or the Cleveland Buffaloes. Give me a bold prediction.
All right, I absolutely will. I'll go with kind of what I did with in our 7 round mock draft a little bit. I'm gonna say the Vikings go over the receiver.
Wow.
I'll go bold.
That is bold. All right. That's really bold.
Right.
The team with the most surprising pick tonight is
Jaguars.
That's a good pick.
Because there's a lot of different ways they could go there.
It's a good pick.
And it seems like Mason Graham has kind of been
Ashton, though, has been getting a lot of talk with
like,
the Jaguars right now. I am going to go the team with the Saints.
Okay. Yeah.
Do they go quarterback? Do they go wide receiver? Do they go defense? Do they go offensive line? And that's a team that cannot manage a salary cap worth a darn.
They're
not great. So
kudos to Kellen Moore for jumping into that situation.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though, like Mickey Loomis, like he's got to be skating on thin ice.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand what they did when they still had Drew Brees, but like at some point you just got to kind of eat it.
Right.
Be like, okay, you know what?
I was trying to think what's the comparison to Mickey Loomis in like another sport, like the general manager in another sport.
That's just been like there forever,
and hasn't really won. I mean, he's got a championship, but you know, who's that general manager? Like, I'm trying to think. Because I was trying to think of like a basketball team. It's almost like he's kind of like Doc Rivers from a coach sense, where he's got the one championship,
he's got the one, but otherwise,
yeah. And he's just kind of hung around.
His teams have lost in kind of spectacular fashion.
Yeah. So, but general manager wise, it's a little bit difficult from that aspect. So, all right, let me bring up because I think we only got about a minute or so left. Jacob says I might have to stop by tomorrow morning and bring some Bloody Marys.
Ooh,
all right.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go. That's Jake from State Farm.
All
Jake
right.
from State Farm with that. All right, we only got about 30 seconds left. So, again, a big thanks to AJM Automotive, Home Oasis, SCS Swiderski. Big thanks for hanging out with us. We'll get the audio and stuff figured out and that. But don't forget, check out the YouTube and Facebook streams because working crystal clear over there.
Yes.
Enjoy the first rounds. We'll be back.